Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, you're listening to World Combat Sports. You know what it is, Catchweight episode 730. For everyone that's dropped in, salute to H Money, Mr. The Zone in the building. Salute to you. Always appreciate your support. And y'all be sure to check out his channel, man. Different type of podcast going on. The Real Devin Haney podcast. Y'all be sure to check that out all the time, man. You know, he's on Team Devin Haney. So check it out, man. You know, show support for the brother, raise him up, and watch his journey. You know what it is. Today, what better time to talk about the chaos that's going on in boxing, y'all? It's absolute chaos to those who really don't understand boxing business. It's chaos to individuals that wants to overlook. They've been studying boxing. They've been researching boxing. They call themselves boxing historians, but they act like they can change the narrative anytime they get a chance. Like they have no idea or no clue what boxing consists of. What's hot right now in the media is, of course, the Bob Arum situation with Terrence Crawford. All right. And also the Canelo Alvarez situation. It's a big freaking deal. You know why it's a big deal? Because boxing is showing us what it's always been capable of, making impulsive decisions on the spot, and it really doesn't care who it affects outside of the fighters themselves. They don't care what you think. They don't care. They're just basically saying we can do what we want to do. If we have golden childs, we're going to coddle these golden childs. We're going to make them the best we possibly can because that's who we want to embrace. That's how we can make the most money, and that's what we're going to continue to do. So let's go to Bob Arum. What's so unique about Bob Arum's situation is that all of a sudden, Keith Thurman, Keith Thurman, this is the same guy who, when he did have a belt, you couldn't get him to look Errol Spence's way. You couldn't even get him to pay Errol Spence any damn attention. Keith Thurman, his record right now is 20. Let me see, 29-1, 22 KOs. All right. And one no contest. His recent loss was to Manny Pacquiao, who is 62-7 and 2, 39 KOs. And not to mention, Manny Pacquiao was pretty damn old when he fought Keith Thurman, right? But prior to that bout, when Errol Spence was turning his head and echoing the challenge, calling out Keith Thurman, saying, I want to face Keith Thurman. Nothing. Keith Thurman didn't even get his man the time of day. He didn't even want to look his way. He didn't want to acknowledge him. He didn't want to call his name. He didn't want to do any of that. All of a sudden, Keith Thurman, who vacates a title and then fights and loses his title to Manny Pacquiao, all of a sudden, people are on Keith Thurman's side when they was dogging this man out. How the fuck does that work exactly? What's going on, H Money? Keith Thurman is clout chasing like Gary Russell. I'm like, how does that work? Whether Keith Thurman is clout chasing or not, hey, it's all the same. You know what I'm saying? It's all the same. Because I remember people was dogging the shit out of Keith Thurman, saying he was ducking. He didn't want no part of Errol Spence. He was scared. He never mentioned Errol Spence's name. He wouldn't address the matter. People saying that, Thurman was scared, all that shit. He went to one time Thurman, sometime Thurman, to no time Thurman. That's what people telling. That's what people was telling one another. Every time Keith Thurman's name came up in the media, they was busting the grape over his head, man. It's like, how can you sit up here and not acknowledge Errol Spence is calling you out? Errol Spence is calling you out. But guess what? Errol Spence scooped up one of the belts without fighting Keith Thurman. He scooped up one of them. He had to go the extra distance and get it off Sean Porter, but he scooped it up. Now, this is what I want to ask the individuals that was dogging out Keith Thurman, who's all of a sudden supporting Keith Thurman. How is that possible? Only because it's attached to a fighter that you don't like. Terrence Bud Crawford is 36-0, 27 knockouts, right? So you want to talk about who has he fought, who is he fought, who is he fought. So Keith Thurman comes over here all of a sudden and say, you know, our people sent the contract. And that has been confirmed by Bob Arum. You know what I'm saying? It's been confirmed by Bob Arum that the people did call. You know, Keith Thurman's people did call. And it went on to say, Thurman's people got in touch with me, but they're out to lunch. Aaron told BoxingScene.com. They have such a crazy expectation that just don't exist anymore. Their money demands are crazy. They said they were free agents, which I'm sure they are. But again, who's going to pay what they're looking for? Now, why in the hell should I hear so many, neighboring media segues supporting Keith Thurman, who they was dogging out when he wouldn't even give Errol Spence the time of day? But yet, Errol Spence is one of your A1 guys, right? Errol Spence is your A1 dude. We're looking forward to see Errol Spence come back to fight Danny Garcia. We need to see how he look so we can get that Errol Spence Terrence Crawford fight. We want to see that fight. Okay. So you went from supporting Errol Spence to hating Thurman to supporting Thurman to hating Crawford even more, because all of a sudden Thurman want to say, okay, fight me and lead the division. Why in the hell does Thurman have to fight? I mean, why does Crawford have to entertain Keith Thurman of all people? He had injury. He had a bone fusion in his jab hand. Why is this a necessity for all of a sudden Keith Thurman to become an opponent for Terrence Crawford? Like you're going to love Terrence anymore. I'm not taking up for Terrence. I'm just saying y'all was dogging the shit out of Thurman for being out the sport with an injury, not coming back, coming off his title, his WBC title, forced to vacate, and then turn around and people saying he was ducking Errol Spence. But you tell me at this point in Crawford's career, a three-time division champion, right? A three-division champion, brother. A three-division champion. You tell me why in the hell it's beneficial for him to face Keith Thurman when Manny Pacquiao ass is out there. If Manny Pacquiao was good enough to face Keith Thurman, he's good enough to face Terrence Crawford. I know it's a money issue, and I know you all love latching on and putting titles up there tomorrow. Keith Thurman calls out Crawford. He sends the contract. That doesn't mean shit. Because regardless of he sending contract, we're not able to see it. We're not privy to it. We're not at the table, man. We don't know what the hell Keith Thurman is asking. We've been through this several times before where fighters are sending contracts out or saying they have sent contracts out, and it's a bunch of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we supposed to believe? Just because your people called and y'all sent some paperwork over there, we supposed to say, okay, if Crawford team doesn't sign it, Crawford's ducking, without knowing the fine details of the contract, without reading. SB90 in the building. What's good? What's good? SB90 said, what's happening, WCS? Salute to you, man. Always appreciate it. Thanks for dropping through. Thurman is desperate right now. Hey, peep this, though. It's a lot of fighters out there looking for attention. Thurman isn't the only one looking for attention. There's a lot of fighters looking for attention. And they should be. You know why they should look for attention? Because they need to fucking eat. They need to eat. Closed mouths, people, don't get fed. These cats need to be calling out everybody and anybody to get a damn opponent on their plate. They need to eat. This is my thing getting back to Bob Arum. He said he don't know where the money's going to come from. We don't know how much Thurman and his team asked to fight Crawford. But we dare say we have a pandemic for the 1000th time. We understand we're in a pandemic, right? And money isn't the way it should be because we're absent of a live gate. We're absent of that. So what that live gate extracts from is the pockets of the promoters, managers, trainers, teams, fighters, all that. So you have to go to PPV, or you have to go from whatever, however you're going to make your money. Now, this is the solid thing about it. It's not like a fight is impossible to make. But if I was Terrence Crawford, I would make the right fight and go for a championship fight. If Teofimo Lopez and Vasily Lomachenko can be made for the latter part of this year, why in the hell Terrence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao can't be made? It can be made like anything else. And not only that, if it's not so much money out there, Teofimo Lopez was able to negotiate and come up with even $2 million. So why are you trying to tell me? It's no way you're going to tell me that it's all Terrence Crawford's fault. It's not Terrence Crawford's fault. I thought we got past this long time ago. For those hardcore boxing heads, I thought we got past this long time ago in understanding that a boxer, the fighter himself or herself, are not the ones negotiating at the table. It's not like that all the time. Yeah, they're going to provide their input, but they're not negotiating at the table like that. But their managers are getting back with them. Everybody who's supposed to talk, they're communicating back and forth. Absolutely. But why are you all blaming Crawford? Because when it comes down to it, Bob Arum has been known to sabotage fights. Bob Arum has had fighters leave him. Floyd Mayweather, Oscar, Miguel Cotto, Mikey. There's been plenty of fights that left Top Rank. But then again, you look at Al Heyman, right? Al Heyman's been known to kind of cushion fighters, to kind of put them in a good position monetarily to look out for their fighters. It's well documented. He gave Deontay Wilder some cushion, some monetary cushion, so he wouldn't take that DAZN deal. And a lot of people always throwing up here, you know, that's for another day. Why Deontay didn't take that deal? Well, on another live, I'll let you know how that contingency worked. But Al Heyman did what he had to do. He made it right. So the money is out there one way or the other for Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. It's out there. But unfortunately, on Bob Arum's side of the house, I've heard him say on too many occasions, where are you going to get the money from? Where are we going to get the money from? Where are we going to get that type of money from? We need an audience. Where are we going to get that type of money from? But you look at what Showtime is doing. They're bringing back Errol Spence and Danny Garcia. And it's going to be a pretty damn good fight. I mean, that's a pretty damn good matchup. And I think it's going to do solid numbers because people are curious in both directions when it comes to Errol Spence recovering from his accident, fighting a worthy welterweight champion, multi-division champion, Danny Garcia. And also, stylistically, they match up very well. So people want to see how's it going to play out in the ring. Can the truth be taken off his pedestal in the welterweight division by Mikey Garcia? Is Mikey Garcia able to lose against Sean Porter and then return and defeat Errol Spence? That's the curiosity that's going to bring people to tune into that fight. And ultimately, a lot of people want there to be adversity, suspense. You know, the intrigue is the build up to the fight. But of course, you know, we want to see Errol Spence win so we can just get everything out the way and focus on making Spence versus Crawford. But I'm going to tell you right now, when I criticize Bob Arum for saying, he don't know where the money's coming from and he's had fighters leave him, then I look at what he said. He said, I'm more interested in Crawford versus Pacquiao. And I've said this on my live before. I say Crawford versus Pacquiao makes more sense to me and everybody else that should understand that. Because it's better for Crawford, the WBO champion, to go into this fight with the WBA chip. Because we all know he can defeat Pacquiao. Put him in testing. We ain't talking about Pacquiao coming in and no testing. Test him and see how he look in there. You're gonna look and think Pacquiao is freaking 55 years old, man, with a birthday tomorrow. Because he's been able to go into a fight and he hasn't been thoroughly tested in the testing pool. So guess what? We're not going to see the same thing that happened to Keith Thurman in the casinos, freaking, eating ice cream before the fight. Man, look, why am I sitting up here telling y'all what y'all supposed to hold yourself accountable for? Y'all actually up here giving Keith Thurman credit for calling out Terrence Crawford, all because you have some type of favoritism to like Errol Spence rather than Terrence Crawford. So therefore, the same person that you was dogging out that wouldn't get Errol Spence the night of day, now you're going to support Thurman and say, yeah, Thurman, yeah, Crawford, you should face Thurman. Man, that sound absolutely. I'm telling, I can't tell you how foolish that sound. Y'all switch, man, like the weather, the wind, the flow, the breeze. Y'all switch, man. However the wind blow. How can you sit up here and now want to put another load of discontent or criticism towards Crawford just because you're saying that Thurman is somehow sending a contract and he want to be the boss now? So when he was the unified champion, he didn't want to goddamn give a hungry lion like Errol Spence the time of day. But now he's beltless. Nigga beltless. Now he want to stand up and stick his chest out, posture up and shit, and say, hey, guess what? Crawford, fight me or get out of the division. What the fuck? Look at my thumbnail. Look at my thumbnail. You have Thurman, Spence, Crawford. Neither three of these top names in the welterweight has fought one another. Don't ask me about Sean Porter. He's not the part of the topic. We're talking about Thurman, Spence, Crawford. None of these guys has fought one another. And they're some of the top names in the welterweight division. Now, you tell me how Thurman going over there to Crawford really matters. Because when Errol Spence had Thurman's name in his mouth, Thurman didn't even want to acknowledge his presence, y'all. All three of these cats that you see on the thumbnail have not fought each other. They haven't even came close. Have you noticed that? They haven't came close to facing one another. So all of a sudden, extract the belt off Keith Thurman's waist. You believe that Crawford should be the one who entertains this guy when he's trying to make a fight with Errol Spence and he needs to go in there with as much hardware as possible to get the most money on PPV? Look, the only way they're going to maximize the revenue is that Terrence Crawford has that WBA belt. He needs to maximize his worth by going in there fighting Spence with two belts on his waist. The WBO, the WBA. Spence already has his two. He's good. He has the coveted WBC, which is atop the ranking system, and he has the third highest ranking sanctioned body belt in the IBF. So if we want this fight so much in the welterweight to see who's the undisputed, why not encourage or jump on social media and talk like we got some sense without switching lanes all the time. Just lean into the left, lean into the right. Whenever it feels good, they try to go over here and get views. Because that's why people criticize new media. Because 1 minute we saying this shit, and the next minute we saying some other shit. Come on, man. Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence is what everybody want to see. That's what everybody's been talking about for the past years. But yet all of a sudden, Keith Thurman say, I'll sign the contract on IG. Don't nobody give a fuck about you signing a contract on IG. Nigga, you was eating ice cream before the fight with Pacquiao. Thurman was eating ice cream, so he didn't go in there to win. This cat was at the casino. And the one time, all the buffoonery I hear Adrian Broner do, I believed him this time. He said, man, we had to kick Thurman out of the casino before his fight. We had to send him back. AB said this now. We're talking about the stunt master of all stunt. And then come to find out it was true. Why in the fuck is Keith Thurman team not around this cat to guide him? And what? That's called being a Charles Martin. That's called cashing out. That's why you look so bad in the fight. You was on your ass. So you get off your ass now. You want to take boxing serious again, and then you're going to say, okay, I'm good. I need another big paycheck. Let me go over here and challenge Terrence Crawford, because a lot of people's on his, on his neck right here, talking shit to him. Let me go to where it's most vulnerable. And I know a lot of people look at this, right? And they look at Terrence Crawford as being the easiest top opponent in the welterweight division, because they tend to keep on latching on to his bout with Yorkis Gamboa. That's fucking old news. The man successfully won, and too many people continue to say, well, Gamboa hurt him. But what happened? Did Gamboa make it to the final round, or was he stopped? 1 minute you're going to say Gamboa was out of the sport for a period of time and came back and fought. And then the next you're saying, oh, he almost hurt Crawford. So which is it? Are you going to give Crawford credit for finishing the fight the way he did? Or are you going to give Gamboa credit for hurting Crawford? Or are you going to turn around and not give Crawford credit because Gamboa hurt him? It doesn't make any sense to me. It ain't supposed to make no sense. Fuck it. It ain't gonna never make no sense unless I allow it to. Facts and champions need that mentality too. T Jordan in the building, salute. Line Killer in the building. What's good, man? Follow his channel, check him out. Say World Combat Sports. J4B, WCS, what's good? JFL in the building, man. Salute to you. Say like, sub, the WCS Sports. Ellaby's nose back, man. I'm seeing you in a minute. Salute to you. Appreciate you stopping through. Yeah, I see that. Leonard Ellaby's nose says facts. T Joyner in the building. But I'm just trying to figure this out. Appreciate everybody who stopped through in the live chat, man. Real talk. I'm just trying to figure all this shit out. Like, it's easy to comprehend, but from what I'm reading and back and forth on the media layer, on the media landscape, brother, it comes down to like certain individuals that's been following the sport and say they follow the sport for quite some time. Now they get behind Keith Thurman. Why are you going to get behind Keith Thurman, who you were dogging out? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't supposed to make sense to you. You're supposed to still be on Keith Thurman's neck because he fucked around and avoided and ducked Errol Spence, didn't give a man time of day, and that would have been a good fight. But in fact, he turned around and jumped in there with Manny Pacquiao and give up his last belt being stupid. Yeah, he has some injuries. But when you sign a fight against a top name like that in Manny Pacquiao, even though he's old, he is a future Hall of Famer. You go in there and you're eating ice cream before the fight. We didn't hear too much from you, Keith Thurman. We weren't hearing you saying shit. But now it's all about Crawford. Everybody's calling out Crawford. Everybody's calling out Crawford. And that's why I always say, I understand why boxers don't fuck with media. I understand what certain fighters in general, whether it be MMA, Muay Thai, combat sports practitioners, they don't fuck with fans and they don't fuck with the media. Because when they on top, they get all the smiles. And when they down, they get the frowns. Motherfuckers be mean mugging. They will hold you to a point for one fight. They'll hold you to the fire on one fight. You have to let it go. I'm telling you right now, y'all have to let that Gamboa fight go. Because he finished the job, man. Now it's time for bigger and better things. And if Bob Arum wants to make the Manny Pacquiao fight and Terrence Crawford fight, that's good. That's good business. Because we're seeing Teofimo Lopez and Vasily. We're possibly seeing Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder sometime in 2021. It doesn't seem like it's going to go down this year because it's a money fight. We see the Showtime card. You know, we got the Charlo brothers who's been in the news. They're going to be PPV. We have Tank popping up again, PPV, with Leo Santa Cruz, who's, he's a 4th division champion, but who the fuck is goddamn having Leo Santa Cruz? And he's a good guy too. I mean, I met him when he was at the MGM Grand. I can't sit up here and fuck off and say, well, I'm a dog out Leo Santa Cruz because he's fighting Gervonta. He was a cool cat. I ain't gonna lie, man. That's the type of situation you're able to experience and make your own call off engagement. Like you're able to interact with certain fighters and see how they act. And some are cool and some are assholes. If I'm going off straight assholes and not wanting support, then hey, it's some out there like Gervonta Davis. Like, come on, man. Let's be honest. But they're on PPV. The money is out there. Davis is going down there to face Leo Santa Cruz. The money is out there. Gervonta has less divisions than Leo Santa Cruz. They still made the fight. So now, the only fight I want to see Terrence Crawford even consider, even pay attention to, is Manny Pacquiao for that belt. Because check this out, people. You cannot sit up here and say, oh, Manny Pacquiao old and dog Crawford out if he goes in there and either knock out Manny or win against Manny. You say, oh, Manny was old anyway. But you wasn't saying that shit when he beat Keith Thurman. They would say, hey, you definitely weren't saying that shit when Adrian Broner was on the post-fight conference and I beat that boy. You know I beat that boy. I did it for the hood. No, you didn't, shout. You got beat. And then to hear certain individuals go up here and try to defend that Adrian Broner potentially could have won that fight. I was there. I was looking at that shit up close and personal. Pacquiao clearly won the fight, but that's besides the question. That's old news. But the only thing I'm saying is now, the only benefit that Terrence Crawford has to raising his Wall Street to step in there with Errol Spence is what? He needs another title. He needs a name. And there's one fighter out there that's accessible if he isn't scooped up by anybody else. And that's Manny Pacquiao. Now, on the flip side, though, if Crawford goes up here and fight Kell Brook, I'm going to be disappointed. Seriously, I'm going to be disappointed. If Crawford goes in here and fight Kell Brook, I'm going to be disappointed. If Crawford fights Sean Porter, which isn't happening because Sean Porter has another fight, just say theoretically, if he was fighting, I'll say, okay, cool. And that's a tough fight that Errol Spence had that can further build up the interest of people tuning in and purchasing the fight via PPV according to how Crawford looks in there against Porter. To really raise up, the energy people need to have to pay for Crawford versus Spence. I would like to see that. But once again, check this out. There's always scenarios out there. It doesn't seem like this fight is happening anytime soon between Spence and Terrence Crawford. But you know what may happen? If Errol Spence goes in here and defeats Danny Garcia, like I said before, I haven't heard anybody else say it. I haven't heard anybody else mention it but me. What if the WBC came about and raised its first black boxer to the franchise championship, and that fighter being Spence, then turns around and elevates Sean Porter, who is the number one contender for that WBC title after losing to Errol Spence? They elevate him back up to WBC. That shakes up everything in that particular division. And you know what? It's a money grab. It's boxing business. Remember, I told you that. The closest person right now that we're talking about active, that's in the conversation of boxing fans in general, Errol Spence. So therefore, when it comes down to the WBC, why wouldn't he be a solid nominee for Mauricio Suleiman to raise him up to franchise champion, since they want to give it, they want to give the franchise championship to Teofimo Lopez if he defeats Lomachenko? That'll be the third person to become a franchise champion. So therefore, why not Errol Spence? You do that and then have either elevate Sean Porter or have him fight for the vacant again. And if we read in history now, it may very well be that Sean Porter is elevated, but that's hard for me to think if he's not interim. You know what I'm saying? It all depends. I'm not sure, but you get where I'm going with it, right? He can fight for the vacant again or whatever the case. But peep this out though. It would shake up a lot in that particular division of the welterweight, because you already have the WBA with all those goddamn belts floating around. Now the WBC is doing somewhat similar things, but they making a franchise belt as if it's the crowning glory of all the sanctioning bodies. So why not? It has to come a time and a place where the WBC has to elevate Errol Spence. If he continues to be WBC champion, elevate him to franchise, and then somehow somebody fight for that WBC title. Super. I don't know who it's going to be. I can't, I'm not going to sit up here and give no fantasy matchups. But ultimately, we can tie it all down for an undisputed welterweight champion. We're about to have it go down in the lightweight division, and we should have it go down in the junior welterweight division, and it should happen in the welterweight division. Now, if you're saying why not the heavyweight division, because it's so far off, we got to see what's going on with this Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury deal. And that fight may not happen in 2021. And then the unification, if Anthony Joshua, even if close to maintaining his titles against Kubrat Pulev, that fight is going to be down the road for unification. Especially if Tyson Fury loses his belt and Deontay Wilder regains it. That unification is going to be out in the far distance. Believe me when I tell you, it's going to be in the far distance, because Anthony Joshua is not going to be in a hurry to face Deontay Wilder if he gets his belt back, especially if he goes in there and knocks out Tyson Fury like he did in the 12th round. But yet this time he stays down. Tyson Fury going to say, excuse me, Eddie, excuse me. Can I take a minute of your time? I don't think it's a good choice for me to step in there with the bronze bomber the way he lit up Tyson Fury's chin. I can't do it. I can't do it. The ride is over, Eddie. I can't do it. It's not something that I want to commit to. It's not something I want to commit to. I'm not willing to sell my soul for death. Did you see how he knocked the fuck out of Fury? That's bullocks. I'm out. Yeah, hell yeah. Anthony Joshua would be gone, goddammit. Line Killer said, people who can't do cheerleading, people who wish they could hate. H Money say JFL salute. T Jordan salute. Line Killer said, be ready to be disappointed, WCS. Okay, we'll see what's popping. I mean, disappointment comes with the business of boxing. Why? Because the best hardly ever fights the best. We ever hardly get to see the best. Yeah, people could sit up here and say, well, Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko is the best fighting the best. Okay, but is that the matchup we've been talking about? No, the matchup we've been talking about is Crawford Spence Crawford. The matchup we've been talking about is Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. Seriously. When Deontay had his belt, everybody wanted to see Wilder versus Joshua because they felt Joshua can go in there and do whatever they believed him until Deontay was defeated by Tyson Fury. Now they're trying to say, oh, we want to see Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. Fair weather. That's what boxing fans are. Fair weather. Believe that shit. '87, what's good, WCS? Salute, man. What's up, Rob 87, Rob 85? Hey, no, you might have came in here before. I know some individuals be coming back in and ghost accounts after I delete their ass from the channel. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's where I'm at. I understand that boxing is a business, but let me get to this right here, right quick. All right. Let me switch lanes a little bit and tell you how crazy boxing is and how these fights can be made if certain people are in a position to be elevated. Now, you just witnessed, all right? Y'all just witnessed Benavidez missing on the scale. He missed the scales, right? So he was stripped of his WBC title, but yet he still went in there and finished Angulo in 10 rounds, right? So everybody's saying to themselves like, and Benavidez, I even said to myself, Benavidez is, he fucked around. That's fucked up. He not taking the sport serious. He this, that, and the other. Check this out, though. Check out the move that's going on. Because boxing always leaves the fans out here to fend for themselves. That's what boxing does. They want you, unless you're real close and you have the connect. Are you close? You have the plug. You won't know about this information. But Benavidez, the former WBC super middleweight champion, is now ranked number 1 in the lightweight WBC. I say again, he is ranked number 1 contender for Arthur Beterbiev at the lightweight division. David Benavidez, the one who just lost his super middleweight title on the scales. And guess who's fighting for his former super middleweight title? Guess who's scheduled? Let me read you an article right quick. Just half of this article, y'all. This is how boxing rotate. This is how boxing do what the fuck they want to do. David Benavidez's inability to make weight last Friday cost him the WBC super middleweight title despite dominating Romer Angulo the following night, right? Let me get done. The board of governors for the WBC, World Boxing Council, were nearly unanimous in their vote Tuesday. Listen to me, people. All of a sudden, the WBC is voting on shit Tuesday. They're voting on shit Tuesday. They weren't voting on shit January. They weren't voting last December. They wasn't voting July of 19. They voted now. We didn't hear shit about this. And you want to know what they voted on? Ordering Mexican superstar Canelo Alvarez, 53-1-2, 36 knockouts, to face mandatory contender Avni Yildirim, 21-2, 12 knockouts in a vacant super middleweight title bout. Did you hear what I just said? They're setting Canelo Alvarez to go fight for a vacant title. I want y'all to be on Canelo's neck like you do everybody else that fight for a vacant title. Because, man, he is absolutely the golden child. Canelo Alvarez is moving around. He is the right everything for the WBC, who is partner with the Mexico. So of course, Canelo Alvarez getting all the special treatment wherever he chooses. He was able to become first franchise champion. They elevate Charlo. Now they provide him an opportunity to fight a dude who has been in there with Chris Eubanks Sr., Jamal James. This dude isn't going to defeat Canelo Alvarez. This is an easy strap that they're setting up. Let me go on. Check this out. The WBC Board of Governors has voted 36-1 to order Alvarez, the multi-division world champion who holds the WBC franchise designation, to fight against. Let me back up. I want you to get a hold of what the fuck they doing, how they want to do it, when they want to do it. Multi-division world champion who holds the WBC franchise designation to fight against the WBC's mandatory contender of the division, Abney Yildirim. WBC President Mauricio Suleiman said, come on, man. Mauricio Suleiman, if you don't think he's playing on the chessboard with heavy pockets, man, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Benavidez loses his title, gets elevated to a whole entire another division. You trying to tell me Benavidez didn't know that shit was going to happen? And even though Benavidez said, well, I don't know if I'm going to contend at light heavyweight. Well, what the fuck are you going to do, homie? Like, what you going to do, Benavidez? They are already talking about, they voted 36-1 and they didn't mention your name. It wasn't, we voted 36-1 for Canelo to take a tough fight against David Benavidez for the vacant WBC title. No. They went up here and said, we're going to give Canelo an easy go and put him in there with Yildirim, a guy that's 21-2 and has 2 losses against some opponents that's pretty solid that Canelo would beat. While the announcement doesn't guarantee the fight will take place, it could provide the 30-year-old Alvarez with a last-minute foe after negotiations with the Zone and Golden Boy Promotions for a September 12th return failed to produce an opponent. But it's far from popular consideration. The WBA middleweight champion has fought just one time in the once. Well, we already know what Canelo's fought. He fought at 68. He moved up to 75, all that shit. But what I'm trying to get to you all is, I want you to understand that the criticism should precipitate down on Canelo's head too. Because Canelo has picked some pretty specified directive of opposition as he's, tried to pick up belts in the higher weight classes. He did it with Rocky Fielding. He did it as he moved up and faced Sergey Kovalov and somehow stopped him in the 11th. Now he's about to attempt to pick up another title at super middle because it's vacated. Why you didn't go for Caleb Plant? Like, why are you going to fight this cat? Just because it's a WBC title. And that's what's all bad about boxing, y'all. Seriously. Let me get back to the chat, man. That's what's all bad about boxing right there. Real talk. That shit's real bad. But we those of you that's been around the sport for a while, you've heard it. You know what it is. Bob Arum, the worst promoter at the moment. What's good, Lawrence? Salute to you. Thanks for dropping through, bro. I got the plug 175. JC might be going to Ohio this week. Nello, Shakur number 2 in the WBC at 130. Shakur's one of the best. I'm not sure why y'all saying, JC, you saying he's pillow fisted. Shakur, one of the best in the division. Like I said, before it's all over, minimal, he's going to be a 5-division champion. Minimal. Mark my word. Shakur's a bad boy. Lawrence say, JC, sign a waiver and let Shakur still off on you and let us know now if he have the pillow. It's easy on the outside. These screensavers, man, I'm telling the screensavers, man. JC has been known to pop off, man. It's laughable sometimes, but nah, man. Shakur, man, he is who he is, man. How many boxers outside of Tank Davis? And a lot of you would criticize Tank Davis, right? But he's one of the heaviest hitters in boxing right now. But he wasn't able to knock out Gamboa, who y'all love. I wouldn't say y'all because it's almost like I'm saying certain individuals, many individuals out there continue to latch his name on the people. Even though Gamboa went to the 12th round, he still was stopped. You know what I'm saying? He still was stopped. It's hard to come in the sport and be a knockout artist. Even when Tyson wasn't training right, he was defeated. You tell me, who was the first fighter to go the distance with Tyson? And don't say James Bone Crusher Smith either. He was a knockout artist. It's all about how you attack the opposition with your offensive strategy. If you're smart enough, your ring IQ is there. You can get past the power puncher. But timing beat power, right? No doubt, Lawrence, anytime. Cherry picking like always. No need for a waiver. I got the iron chin. Okay. No one alive knows this dude, Yildirim. I agree, 87. No one. But I want to see, because I have to keep on looking. Like, I have to see how many individuals are going to speak on the cherry pick, the soft touch, and what Canelo is trying to add to his collective championship resume. No one knows Yildirim, and he's not going to come in here and beat anybody that we say, oh, man, let me tune in and watch that. It's not going to happen. Yildirim tested positive for 2 banned substances last year and kept his mandatory spot. True. But why? Look, Lawrence, good point. Solid point. But why talk about positive drug tests when the WBC isn't talking about the positive drug test? Because they the one who sit up here and cover up that shit. We know clenbuterol, or when people was calling Clenello, he tested positive, and his suspension was retroactive back to February. What he only had a certain amount of months before it was over anyway, because he was out the ring. Because his fight with Canelo, his fight with Gennady was canceled and just pushed back a little bit for a later date. You know what I'm saying? And then those two wouldn't even sit in the same room together. And then, both of them was acting like little females. Come on, man. Y'all should have promoted that fight better. But they was like, oh, you tested dirty. You're dirty and all this other shit. Man, that was the worst promotion for a fight that people tuned into that I've seen in a long time. Canelo and Triple G. Believe that shit. But appreciate the info, Lawrence. Appreciate that info. Yildirim tested positive for 2 banned substances last year and kept his mandatory spot. Hey, hey, Lawrence, that's just like Sean Porter losing to freaking Spence, and he stays atop the damn rank. How does that fucking work? You don't supposed to understand how it works. You just have to look at how it's being applied and deal with it. That's pretty much how boxing works. They don't want you to understand it. They just want us to talk about it like I'm doing right now. They make the moves. Canelo, everyone boss. I thought Yildirim was winning versus Darrell at the time of the stoppage on cuts. Hey, Darrell has a win over Yildirim, and no matter how it ended, He might have been doing well, but no matter how it ended, he didn't come out. He didn't come out on the winning side of it. And once again, two big names he lost to, so to speak. That's just like the rail in there with Benavidez, and he got cut. Hey, whoever gets the win, right? I know he was in the WBSS tournament, but no one really watched that in the USA. I mean, not outside the hardcore fans. They didn't watch it. And I can partly agree with you, 87. You're right. The WBSS, it wasn't really watched by the US audience. I can agree with you on that. Because the only time we really got some attention and tuned in is when Regis Prograis recently, him and Josh Taylor is supposed to fight, and he comes out here and say, "Oh, I dropped out of the WBSS. I'm done." The money ain't right. And then him and Adrian Broner went back and forth. I'll fuck your ass up, Regis. Fight me. I'll come out. And then everybody was like, "Oh shit, Adrian Broner, Regis Prograis, Ruga Roo, they're gonna fight." And then it was all a sham because he went right back in the WBSS, lost his freaking belt, lost to Josh Taylor, and he's still waiting around to see what's going to happen at 140, if it's going to be a unification, and then who's going to move up after that. That's what he's waiting on, so he can see if he can pick up a belt again. Canelo, the definition of a diva. That's a rich diva. He's able to do what the fuck he needs to do. He can just, I don't even think Canelo really has to ask those questions. I mean, the yellow brick road, man, god damn. No, the green brick road. Canelo is walking on the green brick road because every time you turn around, he's having his way, y'all. He's having his way and he's making money. He's picking and choosing who the fuck he want to fight, whether it's something the fans want to see or not. He's just doing what the hell he wants. Lawrence said Canelo sparred Yildirim for both camps for Triple G. Man. He's fighting a sparring partner. So that just goes without saying. Like, seriously, is Canelo coming in here to take a dive? Hell no. Is Yildirim understanding that he's about to be the next Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. right before the fight with Triple G? Yes, he's going to be a punching bag if he don't get stopped. He might end up like James Kirkland. The sparring partners, man. Come on. That's Chavez Jr. all day. He was a sparring partner for 12 rounds, and then Triple G get his ass in the ring. I want to thank the people. I will be facing Canelo Alvarez, and it would be a good fight. I mean, this is the same thing, man. We want all the belts and the money. I mean, he want all the belts and the money. JC always hating on Shakur. He's a casual. Not hating, just being objective. No, man, calling somebody pillow-fisted. I don't know, man. There might be a little hating. Where that clenbuterol is real shit, no cap. I mean, I understand this is real. TC, what's good? He said, WCS, quick question. How can Canelo get the belt at 168 when he's franchise? The franchise champion is for every one division he moves to. The franchise champion is for every division he moves to. The franchise championship, the franchise belt he has right now is at 160. First and foremost, what you should understand, right, is that there's no criteria. There's no standard operating procedure. When Canelo was granted this belt that was beautified and considered a crown jewel, no one still knows and understand what is the criteria, what is the structure for the franchise belt. No one knows. So, TC, I would ask you to understand, like, it's no content to it. There's nothing that you can read that's in stone because Mauricio Suleiman is doing what the fuck he want to do. He doesn't care about controversy. The reason why he doesn't, he proved it to you. Did you see the interview that Ness was having with Suleiman when he was saying, how can the actual franchise champion not lose his belt if he's defeated? How can he not lose his belt? But yet, if he wins and he's fighting for the unified titles, he becomes undisputed. This was off the cuff, y'all. This was off the cuff from Suleiman because he can make those changes like that. And even though it was uncomfortable for Suleiman, he still did it. It doesn't matter what division you're moving up to. Canelo can move up in the division. That franchise belt doesn't matter unless he's at 160. Until something solid comes out. Something of structure, something that we can read and say, okay, now we have guidelines as to what the franchise belt consists of and how a fighter and what a fighter can do with the belt. We don't have that just yet. So now it's all about the nominees. The nominees is whoever the WBC deem fit to be the next franchise champion, how it benefits their pockets. Because it's sanctioning fees. It's everything else that deals with that. It's money. WBC, to hold that belt, you got to pay sanctioning fees. And they ain't cheap. That's why some people get off them belts. That's why you'll see Canelo win a belt and vacate it. Just because he vacate the belt, it doesn't erase it from his box rec. It doesn't erase it from his record, his achievements as a boxer, so he can continue to do it. Canelo can go up here, beat Yildirim, who, Lawrence was saying that was his sparring partner. So we already know that's an L coming for Yildirim. And he can vacate that title again. So now you have Canelo going up there fighting Yildirim. He loses. He probably hangs around in the top 5. And then we have one of the super middleweight champions fight for the vacant WBC champion after Canelo is done. Whoever it may be. And don't say it ain't possible. It's highly possible. You know what I'm saying? Because you're looking at Callum Smith, because we thought Callum Smith was going to be the next opponent for Saul Alvarez. We have Billy Joe Saunders out there whenever he get his shit together, and get back in the damn testing pool, and whoever he chooses to fight. But the only one that I would like to see fight for that title would have been Caleb Plant, Callum Smith. But more so Caleb Plant. So you might see Canelo Alvarez fight Avni Yildirim, vacate the title, and then they have Caleb Plant and somebody else fight for it. But it'll be fucked up. I'm going to tell you, it'll be kind of fucked up if Canelo Alvarez wins the title, vacates it, and none of the champions that's currently reigning in the super middleweight division gets a shot to earn that title. I mean, it'll be fucked up because we don't want to see David Lemieux. And the reason why I'm saying it'll be fucked up because you got Daniel Jacobs, who's currently contending at super middleweight. If they want Daniel Jacobs and Anthony Durrell to move up and fight for the vacant after Canelo Alvarez washes Yildirim, they can make that shit happen. And then I'm looking at the division like, I know Caleb Plant, he should feel some type of way about it because he was there before Daniel Jacobs. So it get to a point where if you unify the division, it should be more money in your pocket, right? So, Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant, Callum Smith. I will hope one of them gets the opportunity to fight one another for the unification, whether it's for their own titles or for that vacant WBC after Canelo Alvarez fight for it. Anyway, I'm done with that shit. We all know Canelo lost the first Triple G fight. Man, it's not even something I want to talk about because I'm going to tell you, Canelo won the second. On box rec, it says a draw. The second fight, it says Canelo. Robbie, Canelo lost, then Ward lost Cole's first fight. Yeah, when it comes down to it, it's funny. It's funny that's mentioned because a lot of people act like they don't want to say Ward lost. It's almost like they see Ward as a real good dude, gold medalist, and he's one of those guys that everybody liked, but yet they don't want to. And I'm gonna tell you, right? Check this out. This is real shit. I'm not capping. This is why I respect Ward too, because I was in the hotel in Jerry's World over in Texas, and I happened to catch Ward having a conversation with a fan who was telling him the same thing that you're talking about, JC. He was arguing that Ward lost the coach. He said, listen, I can understand where you can say that. It's boxing. Perception is everything. I can understand where maybe I look back. I seen Ward understanding why that fan was coming at him the way he was. Seriously. I just couldn't. I wasn't near my gear to take out that shit. And you know what? I think I may have that video, man. You know what? I'm gonna look through that shit. I think I did start recording it, but it might have been after the main points. But you know what? After I get off this shit, I'm gonna do a little research this week. I think I may have that video of him explaining to that fan about the Kovalev fight, the first fight. Because if I see shit that's media worthy, I'm recording. Period. So I agree. TC said, nope, the Triple G fights was close. I'm definitely not going to argue about a fight that whether it was close or not that's in the book. Man, come on now. We're not going to, that's not up for debate on whether a fight was close or not. It's in the books. We need the debate. TC, if you want to debate something, let's debate the Rolly Romero fight and that. Let's find something that has a lot of, areas that we can talk about that's questionable. You know what I'm saying? We need something that's questionable for us to have all around debate about it. Mayweather did the same that Canelo is doing. Mayweather gets praised, but Canelo, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Mayweather did what Canelo is doing. I'm just saying for the now, when you cannot put everybody, you cannot say everybody is praising Mayweather. The hardcore boxing fans who've watched the sport would say, okay, we know Mayweather was very selective on who he chose to contend against, whenever that name popped up. And then again, Canelo. Guess what? Floyd Mayweather's attached to Canelo. He only has one loss coming from Mayweather. But I'm just saying, in a sense, when it comes to this franchise belt, I'm just saying in a sense where Floyd Mayweather was never designated as a franchise champion and took it and vacated his belt. Canelo vacated the belt in the division where he should have fought Charlo to begin with. He should at least gave him the opportunity. If you the man, give Charlo the opportunity. Don't just say, go ahead and take this trinket. I got this franchise belt. I'm not worried. I mean, that's kind of fucked up. Like, you're just going to elevate Charlo to champion. And you can always say, I gifted him that. But yeah, you're not even having any type of conversation about coming back down to 60 before you face Triple G to face the super WBC champion and Jamal Charlo. That's fucked up. You have to think about that, JC. Every time I mention AJ, man, that's the only look. I can say something. I can say some opposite of graces about AJ, and people latch on. I could care less because you need to come up with a number of boxers that's in the sport competing, and don't just latch on to one boxer that I'm having critique about, having criticism about. You know what I'm saying? We all seen AJ all over the canvas against Klitschko. We seen him on the canvas against Ruiz. And that ain't hate. That's fact. And that's not even something I like using all the time. That's the truth. And you can't handle the truth. Can't wait to so what KO's Canelo. I'm sick. See that right there. I'm not waiting for anybody to KO Canelo. I'm not waiting because they allow Canelo to do what the fuck he want to do. So if you was in that position to do what the hell you wanted to do, and you was making progress and you was making big money from it, you're going to continue to do it. And it's legal. Canelo, it's almost like the clenbuterol situation. It's not even relevant, y'all. He pop positive. It's not even relevant. They don't mention that shit. Bud has options of opponents. List from amateur days or Bud has his options. Bud needs, at this point, being he is getting older, he need a big name. He has options. And that's why I put in there, hey, you know, he has plenty of opponents that he can choose from. It's up to Bud in a way to communicate with his people to try to make these fights happen, because he cannot go another year without fighting a big name. You know what I'm saying? Bud already holds the title that's on the far right. You know what I'm saying? The lowest ranking title that's considered one of the legitimate sanctioning bodies of championships. So we know he's not going to fight Danny Garcia, who's ranked number 1 in the WBO. And this is why I say again how fucked up the ranking system is, because Errol Spence is coming back to fight Danny Garcia, who's number 2. And the reason why Danny Garcia is in the slot, because Sean Porter would be too tough of an opponent for Errol Spence to come back against off that accident. So who's next in the WBO? Do we want to see, and do we think that they'll put Virgil Ortiz in there with Terrence Crawford? Hell no. They're not putting Virgil Ortiz in there with Terrence Crawford. Let's see that. I want to see it. Y'all hyping this dude up, Virgil Ortiz. Let's see it. Virgil Ortiz will get his first L in there with Terrence Crawford. And it's not a big money fight for Crawford. It's not. It's not a big money fight. Now, if you go down to Mikey Garcia, people tune in for that. Mikey Garcia, I give him the credit. I give him the check in the box. 4 division champion. Yeah, for sure. And of course, Sean Porter, no way even close. That's his boy. That's Terrence Crawford's boy. So he's not going to be in there with Terrence Crawford. And everybody else, I'm not even really concerned about, because he already defeated Kavaliauskas, right? He already defeated Kavaliauskas. And Kavaliauskas is sitting at 13 right now. And that's what's puzzling, you know, in this whole puzzle piece that they have, right? Sean Porter loses to Errol Spence, but he stays up here in the top 2. Kavaliauskas, he loses to Terrence Crawford. He's out of the top 10. Danny Garcia loses to Errol Spence. He stays in the top 2. It's all about who they want up top to make these future matchups, y'all. Sergey Lipinets, he still hasn't got his turn to even be considered to fight for any type of championship in the IBF. And you know, Sergey Lipinets was the former junior welterweight champion who lost to Mikey Garcia. But he's a tough fighter, man. Anyway, moving on. JC, most likely I got to talk to Emily. Bud never had an amateur fight. That should happen in the pros. That should be his primary choice in recent career. It's a lot of controversy dealing with Bud's amateur. And you know what? Definitely, I'm going to get a piece of that. Believe me when I tell you, I reach out to Team Crawford, you know, try to get these interviews, you know, online and everything for the boxing fans and for the WCS supporters. You know, behind the scenes, I'm doing all this shit on my own, you know, but for everyone that's tuned in, I definitely want you to be here, you know, drop your comments or what have you. I'm talking with Gary Russell Jr. on Thursday, 11:30 a.m. I know it's early, but I have to work around his schedule. For whatever he got going on, I have to work around his schedule and I'll take what I can get. But I'm definitely going to talk about, any, all the topics that's been floating around. I'm definitely going to try to present them to him seriously. Hopefully it's not a short window, but I'm gonna definitely try to, talk about some of that, what happened in the amateurs, where he at right now, this offer that he sent to Crawford. Al Heyman, he said he talked to Al Heyman twice. Yeah, I want to talk about that. I got respect for the Russells, though. That's a big family. I call them the first family, man. It really don't care to me what anybody else say. I don't like or dislike a fighter off the reaction of someone else. Them cats ain't never did anything to me. Plus, from what I seen, how they move as a unit, from his father all the way down to his younger brother, Antoine. Hey, you got to be on the watch out for his little brothers too. He has one in the bantamweight division and one in super lightweight. You got to be on the lookout for him. The little brother, man, he got 13 wins and 13 knockouts, I believe. But other choice, Keith Porter Brook, low ball flat fee offered DSG. Gary Russell shouldn't be entertained. I see where you're going because those names are big. And plus, like I said before, Porter has fought Errol Spence, which should kind of give a gauge to the fight fans on how good, Terrence Crawford is against a top tier opponent. Keith Thurman, I don't agree with because I'm just looking at Keith Thurman in the sense where he fucked off his belt to Manny Pacquiao. He shouldn't get that love to come back up here and fight for a belt again when he never entertained Errol Spence when he was calling him out. Brook is just not a big name. He's not a big name just because, okay, Errol Spence went in there and dogged him in his backyard. But even before that, yeah, we can salute Kell Brook for going over there to a higher weight class and getting beat up by Triple G. But when it comes down to U.S. fans, Kell Brook, is that another opponent Terrence Crawford should want to entertain? Because they're going to criticize the shit out of him. You know what they're going to say, JFL? They're going to say, you know what? Terrence Crawford fought Kell Brook, who got the shit beat out of him by Triple G. And then he got the left side of his face beat out by Errol Spence. He ain't been the same since. That's what they're going to say. And Crawford's going to be like, man, you know what I'm saying? I can't win. I can't win. I definitely don't want to see Brook fight Crawford. Now, I would entertain Gary Russell and Crawford. I'm serious, man. I'm serious, people. It's a lot to be entertained about with that fight. This is why. Don't come with no temporary type shit. I'm gonna tell you why that's entertaining. Because for the people who are being so vocal about criticizing Crawford for not having a chin, right? They want to criticize Crawford for not fighting nobody. They want to always attach Gamboa up to his resume all the fucking time, right? So why in the hell you don't entertain Gary Russell Jr., who's a lighter opponent, moving up from a lighter weight class, 4 divisions, can box his ass off, has a history with Crawford from the amateurs. There's so much that could go right with this bout. Okay, Terrence Crawford, he's a welterweight right now. Okay, we get it. But what about thinking outside of the box when it comes to boxing? It happens all the time. Some of the shit that some of these fighters are doing, you say, man, I never would have thought Canelo would have moved up to light heavy. I never would have thought that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are saying that shit. But then you get Gary Russell moving up from 26, 4 weight divisions to face Terrence Crawford. Don't sit up here and say, well, Gary Russell is too small. I mean, when it comes to boxing, man, it's boxing at the end of the day. Terrence Crawford isn't a knockout artist. He is a boxer. He can fight from southpaw or orthodox. He can switch stance whenever he fucking feel like it. That's Crawford. He knows how to box. Gary Russell knows how to box, man. He's the longest reigning champion, man, right now. With the WBC. It doesn't matter if he's fought once a year. His only losses against Vasily Lomachenko, where he had to come down from super feather to feather, and he had to lose weight at the last minute. And he already said he understood where he messed up at, and he wasn't in the best of health. He's not lying, because he kind of had some of the similar situations happen when he was in the AMs with a weight situation. So he's not lying. It just happened to be one of the best fighters people love, latching on to right now in Lomachenko when they fought for the vacant title. So you can't say Crawford got hurt by Gamboa. He don't have a chin and this, that, and the other. But yet and still, if Russell's going to move up to challenge Crawford at 47, you don't think it's a good fight. But yet people sit up here and say, oh shit, Mikey Garcia is moving up from 35 to 47. That's going to be a good fight because Mikey Garcia is a 4th division champion. He's this, that, and the other. And he's going to be a good test for Errol Spence. And then Mikey get on the mic. I just see some things in Errol Spence that I do better. Yeah, I see him. Yeah, Errol Spence showed him what he was looking at. He showed him the entire fight. Yeah, this is what I do better than you, nigga. Shit. This is what he said. Fuck what you heard and seen and the tape that you studied. This is where we going in a hurry. I don't want to hear shit else. It was a one-sided fight. But I commend Mikey Garcia for stepping in there, man, and going in there against considerably the best welterweight that people are saying, the best welterweight. And it's just crazy to me once again, right? Just analyzing this whole thing. It's crazy because people will say that Errol Spence is the best welterweight. Imagination is a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And I use it a lot because they will say Errol Spence is the best welterweight, but Errol Spence is not higher than Crawford on the pound for pound list. Errol Spence is in the talking point. He's the best welterweight. But when it comes to the pound for pound list, Crawford is in front of Errol Spence. You feel me? Like, come on, man. How can you continue to say, okay, Errol Spence is the best welterweight, but yet he's still behind Terrence Crawford? Not only that, Errol Spence is behind Alexander Usyk in the Ring magazine pound for pound. And I don't want to hear, don't worry about the pound for pound. Yeah, worry about it because people are always quick to bring it up. But they got Errol Spence number 5 for the BWA, right? And they got Alexander Usyk number 6. But still, he's behind Terrence Crawford. Let me get back. Billy Ho embarrassed Lemieux. JC definitely barbecue. Napoleon, what's good? When have Bud versus any amateur rival in the pros? Let me see. Let me go back up here. If they would criticize Bud for Brook, they would bury Bud for Ray Robinson. Facts. Ray Robinson's not even in the conversation to step in there. I know Ray Robinson's been, back and forth as, being in between the verbal sparring that's been going on. But man, I'm not even gonna waste my time on that. But I get what you're saying there, Lawrence. I get what you're saying. Williams, they critical on Mean Machine. So what's the difference if Bud chooses Ray Robinson, who's most feel Ray defeated Mean Machine, who mostly feel Ray defeated Mean Machine? And that's the analytics again. That's the analytics again when it comes down to it. Because that's how I say you have to really shred and peel back boxing opponents before you call them a bum. Because if Ray Robinson, in a lot of people's eyes, defeated Mean Machine, who went in and gave Terrence Crawford a hard time, but he was stopped, that provides a bit more credibility for Bud Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Just like if you look at one of the opponents, now I'm gonna leave that to Thursday. I'm not gonna break that shit down, but I was gonna give the scenario, one of the same scenarios JFL just gave when it deals with Shakur Stevenson. But I'll wait because I want to talk to Gary Russell about that. But that's a solid point right there. That's a solid point, because that's what you have to do when it comes to these opponents that you're talking about. Before you say so-and-so haven't fought nobody, you have to find out who his opponents have fought and who they have fought. You know, I mean, you got to peel back the onion, as they call it. Napoleon, facts, they throwing out every name but Spence. You got that right, Armstrong, but daring to be great too. But he ain't easy work like Mikey. I said it. Hey, read that again. But daring to be great, but he ain't easy work like Mikey. If you're talking about Bud, absolutely not. He's not going to be easy work against Spence. He's not. And Bud never versed any amateur and pro rivals. Spitz. With that. Hey, Laura said Mean Machine was the mandatory. Yeah, I agree. Mean Machine was the mandatory. He was, but he came out of nowhere. Just like Carlos Ocampo came out of nowhere for Errol Spence Jr. It came out of nowhere. Look, mandatories can pop out the sky, y'all. Just like this shit is going on with them voting 36-1 for Canelo to fight Yildirim. That's just like mandatories. They can come out of nowhere. Believe that. I don't put too much. I'll talk about it, but I'm not going to hold it as scripture. Hey, so-and-so was the #1 mandatory. Who gives a damn? Because like I said earlier, Sean Porter, he lost. He's still up there. Danny Garcia lost to Sean Porter. He's still up there. Come on, man. You can't stay up there in the top two all because you stopped, or stopped another opponent. Russell versus Loma, probably one of the most boring fights in recent history. If it's one of the most boring fights, then you need to send out the SOS and tell people to stop talking about it like it was one of the most epic fights in boxing history. Because when it comes to Gary Russell's name, it's the only name that pops up that I believe is temporary language. The temporary is when you want to keep on mentioning Lomachenko to Gary Russell's legacy, it's pointless because the man has reigned. I can see if he left boxing after that fight. I can see if he didn't win another fight. That's his only loss on his record. And he's still been the WBC champion forever. And I really don't want to go into it. I could break that shit down right now, but I'm trying to save it for him. I'm trying to save it for the interview. So my apologies, man. Williams, we talking after the fact. Ray Robinson called out Bud. Then Bud chose Mean Machine. Bud ducked Ray Robinson. JFL, chill. You can mess with on boxing knowledge. Chill. JFL, you can or can't mess with me on boxing. I'm not sure what it was, but JFL say you're not on my level, man. Hey, I'm not gonna get in the middle of grown ass man talk. It's look, when this like here is going back and forth, I don't mind it going back and forth because it's not trolling. They just talking amongst each other. It's a difference. It's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Because what's being discussed makes sense. Ray Robinson did. That scenario that they just mentioned was absolutely facts. Armstrong, nobody ever wanted to risk that meal ticket to fight Bud. That's the problem. JFL versus L Dub tonight on H Money Stream. Hey, it's according to what H Money talking point is. You know what I'm saying? It get fire over there. 87. I would body that dude again. I bet you he won't answer none of my questions. I will answer all of his. He get protected. Armstrong said, Lawrence Williams will cook you, dude. Funniest shit I heard this millennium. I'm even debating about Bud. I'm just stating facts. The Ray Robinson shit has been out there for a while. And whether, look, y'all have to understand this before you say so-and-so ducking and all that. You have to understand if it's good for money. You know, when it comes down, again, I must reiterate, the fighters aren't the one at the negotiation table. They are an intricate part of it because they're the fighter. But when it comes down to names, in this particular scenario, neither fighter has a big name. I mean, Ray Robinson sound good, of course. It's a history there. But then again, if you look at who he chose to fight, who had the better record, you know what I'm saying? Who would look better on Bud's resume? That's the biggest question of it all. Who would look better on Bud's resume? That's what you have to take in consideration. You know, all this, back in the amateurs and having a history together, who would look better on the resume? And you know what? When it comes down to Kavaliauskas, the man was 21-0, bro. Like, he was undefeated. I'm even debating about Bud. I'm just stating facts, but Bud has no choice but an amateur rival. We need that debate tonight. Let's go. Gary Russell is a better opponent for Bud than Ray Robinson. Just playing. Well, let me do something right quick. So Ray Robinson, at this point in time, you know, if you was to put him in the category of potentially stepping in there with Terrence Crawford around that time, Ray Robinson, and we're talking about Bud Crawford now on how much credit he doesn't get. Ray Robinson right now is 34 years old and, 24-3, 12 knockouts. So checking out his resume, he got 2 draws. He went to a draw with Kavaliauskas, and that's the fight they was just talking about on the live chat. But it was a draw. Then he gets another draw with Josh Kelly. He lost to Yadinas Ugas. So will you take a resume and a record like Ray Robinson over Kavaliauskas, who doesn't have any losses whatsoever? I mean, that's something that the promoters look at, to build a fighter up. I don't think, a fighter like Ray Robinson would have been the choice for Bud to get, more people on his side. I don't think it would have been a better choice, in my opinion. But I do believe Gary Russell stepping up 4 divisions has a lot of intrigue to it. I know a lot of people just looking at him coming up, but he says he's at 140, 141? Adrian Broner moved up from 35 to 47 to face Paulie. Adrian Broner went from 35 to 47. He skipped over junior welterweight. He got his belt, then dropped back down to junior welter at the right time and picked up another belt. He's a 4-division champion because he was very selective, strategic in how he did it. '87 said, "No, we don't. It's too easy." Napoleon Armstrong, appreciate it. Salute to you for the donation, man. Real talk. Out of amateur rivals, DSG was factually lowballed. I can't get into the amateurs, fellas. I mean, that's a whole nother topic, man. It's so much freaking groundwork when it comes to amateurs. Oh my God. And we all know, and we're talking about amateurs now. Do you think we'll be talking about Errol Spence if we talking about his amateurs and comparing him to his professional achievements? We won't even be having this conversation now. Will we be having a conversation? We're highlighting the Olympic team he was on. Come on, man. It wouldn't even be up for discussion. because we know there's a difference. There's an absolute wedge in between the amateurs to professionals. Some people who excelled in the AMs, they failed in the professionals. Others who failed in the amateurs, they excelled in the pros. So he got Ugas Array. Allow Ugas to bypass opponents versus Bud. Now, I like the Ugas fight. I think Ugas, man, is a very solid fighter. But boxing is a business. And really, if you ask, look, I gotta tell you another one. You know, I've seen Ugas 3 different times at boxing matches, right? And I didn't even know who Ugas was. Dude was dressed clean. You know, I said, okay, he got to be somebody. He might be here with a boxer. I thought he might be a manager or whatever. Until I was talking with Buddy McGirt, and I say, hey, Buddy, you know, who that cat right there, man? He said, that's your Dennis Ugas. I was like, what? I done seen that cat all over the place. I didn't even know that was him. Don't nobody even talk about the fight between Sean Porter and Yordenis Ugas, even though he looked good in that fight. It's a business, people. You got to have the star power to come up here and put them butts in the seats. You got to have some type of name. I mean, especially during the pandemic, y'all. You know what I'm saying? We got to get something. Jeffrey, you tell me casual facts. Who Bud next realistically? Who Bud versus next realistically? I said his name because it's still an option. I said Ugas should be out because he can't bypass opponents. AB versus Bud, absolutely not. And the only reason I look at AB like the name, the 2 names, good, because we know Adrian Broner still has value, okay? But, you know, we done seen the same remediated scene play out with Adrian Broner. And you in there with a boxer like Bud, if you don't pressure Bud enough with some punches and put him in a predicament where he can, you know, where he feels some type of way, and you keep him honest, he's going to have his way with Adrian Broner. He's just going to box on the outside. I mean, just look at the way he fought Jose Benavidez. He really didn't try to take risk like that because he knew that Benavidez had enough power to hurt him to the body, which Benavidez did hurt Crawford to the body like once or twice. You said his name because you like knowledge on Ugas and his schedule. I told you, since schedules overlook Keith versus AB, I really don't want to see Keith Thurman versus AB because you know what? If you told me, okay, Keith Thurman versus AB, the way Keith Thurman looked against Pacquiao, I would say, man, I'm going with AB. I'm just not sold on Keith Thurman right now. Now, when Keith Thurman was ruling, as unified champion, he went in there and fought. I'm not gonna lie to you. Keith Thurman had the respect, but what he in now with the surgery, having his hand fused or bone fused, and him not recognizing Errol Spence, I'm done. Keep calling out Bud, yet duck AB. I don't know if he's ducking AB. We don't know what AB is doing, man. We don't have an understanding of what his direction is. We should have long overdue AB versus Keith, which is bigger fight than Bud. I don't know, man. Like, once again, we've seen that script play out so many times before. AB not letting his hands go. He fought Jesse Vargas. He had one spurt moment that led him to get a draw just because they wanted to keep this man alive in the sport of boxing. And though he's a tough dude, AB is a tough dude. You know what I'm saying? He's a tough dude all the way from the Marcus Maidana fight. You can't say he was out on tour drinking beer and all that. And Chino was in freaking training camp and he still couldn't stop AB. He still couldn't fucking stop AB. And Broner was freaking boxing. when he started to get his feet back, getting to his rhythm. Chino was still landing punches, but you're talking about a dude who was partying, drinking, fucking off training camp. He still went 12 rounds with a dude that was in training camp, disciplined, doing what the fuck he's supposed to do. JFL is fighting on December 26th. Jamal James is probably the opponent. Don't feed into the hype. I can help learn about the boxing game. It don't have to be another body. I'm willing to work with you. Damn. Y'all have a history. I didn't know y'all had a history together. But hey, Lawrence, who are you saying on December? Are you talking about Terrence fighting Jamal James? I mean, who are you talking about exactly? I don't know who you're talking about. AB versus Keith is PPV. Bigger fight. Shit gonna sell. I don't know. Is that's gonna pop off like that? What's Robinson ranking the WBO? AB ducking Haney. Let's not start with that. Shit. Look, I don't think AB will duck anybody. Real talk. I just don't consider him as that guy. I don't consider AB as that guy. He's a real dude, man. And though he may not let his hands go, Pacquiao didn't drop that guy. Porter didn't drop him. Garcia didn't drop him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, AB a tough dude. He's just at a point right now where he haven't been able to reciprocate what he was able to do at 35. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have that dynamite, that spark. And it'll be tough for him to go down there and fight Devin Haney at 35. It'll be extremely tough. Weight-wise. I mean, I've seen him on several occasions. That's what I'm saying. He's a real nigga, man. Like, AB walk around with a ski jacket on, no shirt on, and he looked like he drunk a 12-pack. That's what type of dude he is. He ain't trying to go in there and flex his abs. T said exactly World CS, WCS. Appreciate that. AB versus Keith. JFL Robinson has no manager, no promoter, so we don't have connections to even negotiate a fight with Bud. That is why he is always brought in as an opponent. I got you. I totally understand how that can be. I totally understand. And for him to be brought in as an opponent and only has 3 losses to his name, I think is getting to him a little bit. Because his only loss back-to-back was Brad Solomon, Sean Porter. But recently, he hasn't been able to really get in and get the definitive victory. And it may be that he's being brought in as an opponent. Losing to Ugas and having to draw against Kavalauskas and Kelly, that may be because they will screw over them opponents now. They will screw them over. Real talk, they will screw over the opponents. I've seen it. JFL, I see ducking my questions again. William, no one ducking. Irrelevant. If you ain't get Bud smoke when you had a belt, don't call in favor now. Nope. That's what I'm trying to get at, Armstrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling Keith Thurman, man, just sit your ass down and come back and select someone as a tune-up, so to speak, because you look bad in that fight. You was on your ass. You was a former unified champion on your ass. You went in there with an O on your record, being out of the sport for quite some time, and you go there. You in the casinos. No, I don't have no freaking empathy for him, man. He fucked off that. He cashed the check, and that's what he wanted. But now all of a sudden, you hear the media jumping on Bud's neck, and they have all these freaking suggestions for Bud. When the one suggestion that we wanted was Errol Spence Jr. We can't help because Errol Spence was in a car accident that had nothing to do with Bud Crawford. But we still want that fight. If both of them remain undefeated, we still want that fight between Spence and Crawford. But the powers that be says, okay, Errol Spence sent out a text say, I don't need a tune-up. And then his team like, yeah, I know he putting that out there, but yeah, he gonna get a tune-up. Okay, They picked Danny Garcia as a tune-up. That's still a tough fight for Spence. Anybody who knows that, that's a tough fight for Spence. So now we have to turn the focus over to who's next for Crawford. That's the biggest question. I don't want him to step in there with Keith Thurman. It's pointless. It's pointless. And, you know, Keith Thurman might show up better than he did to Pacquiao that night. And it might be a tougher fight for Crawford than what we think. Brooke, I already gave you my my opinion on that fight. Don't want to see it. Yadina Ugas, Crawford. I still think Crawford is too much for Ugas. I'm just keeping it as real as I possibly can when it comes to these opponents, because people tend to sit up here and staple Gamboa as hurting Crawford, but yet they're going to sit up here and act like Gary Russell is a far-fetched opponent for Terrence Crawford. And look at this. Look at this. That shit been back in 2014. They still talking about this shit. 6 years ago, man. 6 fucking years, and people still talking about Gamboa and Crawford. I was at the Madison Square Garden, the MSG, when he made Amir Khan quit. I was there at the fight. He was putting the whooping on Amir Khan. And then Amir Khan was able to get a way out, act like he was hit low when it was on the thigh, and he wouldn't even turn around and face Crawford. You know, the referee was like, okay, you okay? You okay? All right, it didn't look that bad. You okay? And then Crawford wanted to keep on looking out in the crowd, and then they called the fight. And then after the fight, what, couple weeks, a little time later, he go over there and have another fight after quitting against Terrence Crawford. That just goes to show you how boxing truly is. He went over there and defeated Billy Dibb via a TKO, and that's supposed to redeem him quitting against Crawford. That's bullshit. That's how boxing goes, though, y'all. Seriously, that's how boxing is. Y'all just need to settle that when H Money fire up his live, man. Y'all need to just settle that. Real talk. You know, y'all just need to have a mano a mano. You know, not over talking one another, but just whatever questions need to be answered. Shit, I didn't even know y'all had it like that, man. Why are boxing fans dismiss AB versus Keith? It makes more sense. Hey, man, you can put it 100 times over, but nobody ain't talking about that fight. Nobody's talking about AB versus Keith, man. Nobody's talking about AB versus Terrence Crawford, because the fans really don't know where to support Adrian Broner. Like, when you have problem making weight, then they have an issue not only making weight, but when it comes down to letting his hands go. AB's still a draw, but he needs the right opponent. Will people pay to see AB versus Devin Haney? Something like that at 35? Yeah, because, you know, Adrian Broner was a terror at 35. He was a terror. He was an absolute terror at 35. And then Devin Haney being the WBC super, that'll be a good fight. But I'm going to tell you right now, I truly don't think that AB can make 35. I've seen him. He was eating sugar strawberry waffle cakes, and he was tearing it up too. I mean, it ain't happening, man. That shit ain't happening. Coach Kev just said AB is going down to 140. Keith can't make 140, so stop spamming the chat. Yeah, he did say that the other night on Barbershop Conversation. He did say that. But like we all know, right? Can AB make 140? Is AB disciplined enough to just say, forget everything else, forget the changes? Because look, for those of you that follow his IG, it wasn't too long ago that he was on IG eating a whole bowl, a big ass bowl. You remember when we was younger, we used to get them big ass bowls of cereal? them big ass oversized bowls. He had a oversized bowl with ramen noodles in there and put hot sauce. I mean, it looked good, but I'm just saying it ain't healthy, dog. What's good, H? I got time. I'm gonna drop the link. I don't know who's gonna jump on, but I'm like, shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all going at it back and forth, man. Y'all just need to lace up and have that conversation over H Money's neighborhood, to make that shit pop. You know what I'm saying? AB and Keith back and forth make more sense. I got Russell, man. I got Russell for real. I got Russell, bro. I like to see G Russell move up 4 weight classes just to see him in there competing with someone he had a history with in the amateur ranks. You know what I'm saying? I just want to see it. What's good, everyone? Welcome to one and only H Money the Dream. What's good?
This is DSFG 38.
I know.
What up, World Combat Sports?
Chilling, man. I was just fucking with you because y'all was going back and forth in the dang live chat, man. What's good?
Yeah. How you, man? Hey, I keep stressing enough, man. I know AB versus Keith. I know when people hear that, it turns them off in a sense. But like I say in the chat, AB versus Keith has a long history, a long back and forth situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And also, that's during the time when Mayweather was still in the mix. That's how far it goes back. So people shouldn't throw this fight or dismiss this fight. AB versus Keith is a good fight. I'm telling you, is a good fight. It will answer all questions. You know what I mean? Some people got narrative of AB not throwing his hands enough. That's what Keith Thurman was saying too, right? AB, in my opinion, he definitely threw hands, and his fights that he lost, it wasn't a large margin. So I'm like, okay, Keith, you want to chase after Bud, but you've been back and forth with AB, and you don't want to get in the ring with AB, Keith Thurman, who you've been with ducking AB years ago. So Keith Thurman officially ducked AB years ago, and he's ducking him now. So why you weren't chasing a Bud Crawford fight? You know what I'm saying? That's my factual statement. And that's a big fight. It could be possibly a pay-per-view fight. And they both could sell a fight. And they both had their opinions about that Pacquiao fight. You know what I'm saying? That they both lost to, and they both feel as though they won that fight. So, okay, get in the ring together. AB versus Keith.
I see that. I mean, that scenario you just mentioned, I see that. Both of them lost to Pacquiao. Absolutely. And
the back and forth.
Back and forth. I don't think Keith Thurman would take that risk, man. He might not be confident in himself. I don't know the deal with somebody like that.
How can he not have confidence when he quote unquote said AB don't throw his hands enough? And AB said y'all beat the brakes off you, Keith Thurman.
I mean, the same way he was talking trash, but he wouldn't acknowledge Errol Spence was calling him off. Keith is that dude in a sense. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, at the time, let's keep it real. At the time, Keith Thurman should have fought AB before he ever even faced Spence. And you know what I'm saying? And then the only reason why Keith didn't get that fight with Spence, because it was Danny Garcia was that guy that Keith knows he was, you know what I'm saying, that was the next bigger fight. So Keith Thurman and Spence was supposed to happen before Danny Garcia fight with Keith.
He told Errol Spence to get a belt.
I mean,
Errol Spence got a belt.
Yeah, I hear that, but I'm saying, like, that's what I'm saying. So he put roadblocks up when it came to Spence. He put the roadblock up when it came to AB. And Mayweather said, yeah, you know what I'm saying? What he said, get past Spence. You know what I'm saying? Originally get past AB first. So Keith Thurman, he need to stop saying Bud Crawford's name, period. Even though that seemed like a good option for Bud at this point, because he need to fight, a credible opponent. He didn't want to fight Mikey. He didn't want to fight uh, Porter. He lowballed Danny Garcia. Like who's really next? Like Kell Brook, you know what I'm saying? Like people like, you know what I'm saying, if you're gonna have a Kell Brook fight, and I'm like, yo, that's Bud situation. You know what I'm saying? You got options, but not that many. But keep like AB, I feel as though he messing up the situation where he need to stay at 147. He got redemption fights he can have, and he been going back and forth with Keith. Like, why is he worrying about 140 right now, bro? Like, that's what's throwing everything off. Like, AB, I need to talk to AB and put some sense in his head. Like, bro, stay at 147 where you best at. You got hands. You can compete. Get that key fight. And that shit would sell crazy, bro. That build up will be crazy, bro.
That's if they commit to it. Like Kevin Cunningham, he didn't even bring up Keith's name the other night. He didn't even have anything to say about that.
And this what the boxing community needs to do on all these channels. AB versus Keith should be primary push. That fight gotta happen. That can't be another fantasy fight that be overlooked, that's still been overlooked to this day. You know what I'm saying? So AB versus Keith, boxing community, get on both of their head, on both of their DMs, and push that AB versus Keith fight, man. That's how I feel about it.
All right. What's good, H Money the Dream? How you feel?
What's up with it? What's good? I got the dream is Devin Haney's name, World Combat, so I can't take his name. I want him to get on my ass about, man, that's my name,
Hey,
So I probably just go by, I go by Mr. The Zone, but yeah, I know you don't like to call me that. You just call me H Money because
last time I checked, when I go to sleep, I dream.
yeah. What's up, World Combat? Salute.
You know what I'm saying? Hey. what you got to say about it, man? It's all good. It's nothing but a word. It's all good, man.
Yeah,
what you got to say about the topics, man?
The topic, dang.
Being that the Crawford situation.
Okay, this is what I see. You know what I mean? A Crawford and Thurman situation. The Crawford and Thurman situation, World Combat.
Oh yeah, how Thurman is basically saying he sent the contract over there, and Bob Arum was like, "Yeah, his people called me up, but I guess when he returned the phone call, they was out to lunch and everything. But inside of it all, Bob was basically saying whether they think I'm gonna get the money from. So it kind of entails and make it seem like that Keith Thurman sent the contract over there, but the numbers was high, and we're in a pandemic. So how the hell are we gonna try to make this happen? In a pandemic with these high ass numbers coming from Keith Thurman, who's coming off a loss to Pacquiao.
Yeah, he's capping, man. You know what I'm saying? Keith Thurman, bro. He does a lot of talking, and he doesn't back it up. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, we get in this pandemic, and now he wants to, start talking. Now he wants to say, "Oh, I want to fight Crawford and Spence," but you never was saying that before. You know what I'm saying? You coming off a loss, bro. You know what I mean? Keith Thurman, bro, is a loudmouth. He doesn't back it up. He ducked Spence for years. He didn't want nothing to do with Crawford for a very long time. So Keith Thurman coming off a loss, he gonna get whooped again. It's like he's waiting for now. It seems like he's trying to get a big payday or something like that. I don't trust him, World Combat, to be honest. You know what I mean? He kind of reminds me of Gary Russell Jr. during this pandemic, clout chasing and capping and running their mouths. You know what I mean? So I'm not I don't take Keith Thurman serious, man. The man was a ducker for a very long time, World Combat. He avoided Spence. Thurman is all talk. Thurman been looking like shit lately against Jose Cito Lopez. He got his face busting open. Against Manny Pacquiao, he got his ass whooped. So, you know what I mean? Thurman could beat some guys, but Thurman is not, I think, man, you know what I'm saying? Thurman is not elite anymore, man. I don't know. It had to do with that layoff, shoulder surgery. He doesn't look like the same fighter World Combat that he once was, that explosive one time. When's the last time we seen one time get a knockout? You know what I mean?
I agree with you on that, man. It's been a while since, like I said earlier, man, he went from one time to sometime to no time. You know what I'm saying? And a caveat off what you just said, he did look bad against Josecito Lopez. You know what I'm saying? And then he came in here and he got sat on his ass against freaking Manny Pacquiao. So all of a sudden he didn't recognize Spence. So now he wants to come up here and say, you know what, I'm back. I need a big money fight. I want to come over here and put this offer in to Terrence Crawford. But what do you think about what Gary Russell said? He said he sent the offer. I mean, he talked to Al and they sent the offer over there to Terrence too. So you got two people that sent the offer over there to Terrence. You have Keith Thurman and you have Gary Russell Jr.
But this what I'm saying, man. Big money fight. AB versus Keith Thurman. Adrian Broner versus Keith Thurman. That's a big money fight. Got history. Got went back and forth. They both took an L to Pacquiao. Y'all can redeem yourselves fighting each other. You know what I'm saying? Y'all went back and forth many times. It's a long overdue fight, and it's a big money fight. Like DSG and Spence, a big money fight. So, AB, get your mind right, bro. You at 147, man, and get that Keith fight that Keith's been ducking for years.
And we'll see if anybody talk about it, man. Because right now, that's way off the radar. Way off the radar, man.
I don't see it way off the radar. It's just, people got AB narratives, and then after the Pacquiao situation with Keith, they got people, they got their narratives about Keith. So the only way to settle this is to settle with AB and Keith. There's no boxing channels really pushing this. I've been on every boxing channel saying this, and they keep dismissing it. And I'm like, bro, but that's the only fight at 147 that makes sense for both of them.
Yeah, that's what I mean, JFL. It's not the boxing channels, the social media, they're not pushing it. And then when it comes to AB linking up with other names, you have AB, Devin Haney, AB, fighting at 140. You had Regis Prograis in the picture. You had everybody else but Keith Thurman. At one time, they was talking about AB Terrence Crawford. I mean, that's just how it is, man. His name hasn't been floating around on the top of fights that people want to see. Keith Thurman, he hasn't been that name. He hasn't been that name to link up with AB, even after coming off a loss from Pacquiao, man.
Well, what I'm saying is an entertainment fight, and no one can.
I don't doubt it.
And no one. If you have to depict a fighter in that fight to win, who would you pick? Now, people might favor Keith Thurman more, but guess what? Keith runtime Thurman versus a so-called AB that doesn't throw hands. It's still a 50-50 fight, and I believe AB would step it up and definitely give Keith a run for his money.
I can't windshield wipe that, man. I mean, that makes sense as far as, it makes sense with the Keith Thurman analogy and, attaching that to AB not throwing hands. I get where you're going with that. But, at the end of the day, boxing is a business. And that fight right there, if it's not being spoke about on social media, hey, welcome, L-Dub. How you feel, man?
The promo. Just imagine the promo, bro. That alone. And you put Pacquiao in the middle of that promo. Good. And the history. They got the history.
World Combat Sports good, man.
I'm good, man.
I appreciate you allowing me on your platform. What's good?
Man. And a good fight. 50-50.
Hey, let me
much, man. Just talking about this boxing. Just want to join the conversation.
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
What's good, man? I just want to join the conversation, man. I know we're in, can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, you good.
All right. I just want to join the conversation. I know, man, old boy was going back and forth. It ain't nothing. We just talking boxing, whatever. We disagree. It's all good. I'm right here if you want it. But we can talk about any subject you want to talk about boxing. I'm with you.
What do you think about what JFL said about the Keith Thurman and AB? Like, do you think that's something even social media would entertain, man?
I think we got made good fight for the casual fans and stuff like that, and it bring a lot to the sport, and it's a sellable fight, but it's not realistic. I mean, if you listen to the fighters and the trainers, AB's trainers just said he going back to 140. So I mean, I guess
Correct.
it's good to just to talk about, but being realistic, that fight probably ain't gonna happen. I think that fight was gonna happen. I mean, I think we'll hear more about it. You know what I'm saying? I will hear a lot about it. AB talking about going to 140, which I think that's a better weight for him at 140 than 147. He haven't been looking good at 147. 140, I think he can do some things. You know what I'm saying?
All right, let me ask you a question, L Dog. Now let's say AB never
If you
versed.
get, I
Hold on,
answer your
bro,
question if you answer my question.
Hold on, bro. What I'm gonna say is this. Let's say
Hold on,
Keith
before you
ain't
ask
fight.
me, before
Hold on,
I
bro.
ask,
Hear my
hold
question
on,
before
before
you
you
cut me
ask me
off,
a
bro.
question.
Nah, I'm asking you a question on some boxing.
No, hold on, before you,
Situation.
not yet. Don't ask me no
This
question
ain't
yet
not
unless
yet,
you're gonna
bro.
answer my
It's my turn
question.
to
That's
talk,
all.
bro.
That's all I said.
It's my turn to talk, L-Dog. It's my turn to talk. Now you gave your
That's
opinion
all.
about it, and you said it's unrealistic. And I'm gonna tell you how it is realistic, buddy. Now let's say if Pacquiao was the go-to guy like he is now, right? Let's say if Keith ain't never fight Pacquiao, AB never fought Pacquiao, and we had to get an AB versus Keith in order to get to a Pacquiao. You think that what people gonna be talking about then? That is realistic or not?
Hey, give him a chance to respond. Go ahead,
Because he
Elder.
already been there and done that.
What type of answer is that?
Because
You
Pacquiao
ain't
been
answer my
there and done
question.
that. Why he want to go back? He been.
You ain't hear the question, bro.
Can you hear me? Okay, bet. He done.
In order to
Pacquiao
answer the
already
question, you
beat
gotta
those
listen to the
guys. So why
question,
he
bro.
need to go back and?
Is it realistic or not? If AB had the verse of Keith Thurman to get
So
to
you cutting
Pacquiao, is
off?
that
Okay, go ahead.
realistic? If AB had the verse of Keith Thurman to get to a Pacquiao, is that realistic? Yes or no?
No.
I'm done with you, bro. Like I said, AB versus Keith has history. Keith Thurman should not be calling out no Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford should not be entertaining no Gary Russell right now. And it should be AB versus Keith, period. That's how I feel, and that's logical, makes sense. It's a big money fight, 50-50 fight, and you can't tell me who will win in that fight.
You gonna
Come on,
respond,
man.
Elder, or what?
We're gonna
You
have
moving
fantasy
on?
fights. Like, come on, man. You know how many fantasy fights we got that should have happened?
Yeah.
We should have a Pacquiao versus Khan. That's a long overdue fight. And
Is he
guess what?
finished?
Pacquiao mentioned Khan recently, right? So why Pacquiao mentioning Khan for? That's a
All right,
long
Jeff.
overdue fight.
Hey, JFL, let him respond, man.
All right.
I like the AB Thurman fight. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just thinking
All
it's
right, then so
realistic
push
right
it then.
now based on what
Push
the
it.
trend. Oh, you gonna
It
let me
makes
talk,
sense.
right? You see that?
Yeah,
You see that?
you
That's
got
what
let
they
him
do when
talk,
they about to
JFL.
get bodied.
You ain't
When
body
they
no
about to
one, but
get
go ahead.
bodied, that's what they do.
Go ahead.
That's what they do when they about to get bodied. So that's a good fight. It's a sellable fight, promotable, all that good stuff. But it's not realistic to me. So it's a trainer for that fight for them two guys. Them two guys to fight to get the Pacquiao. No sense to me because Pacquiao just beat those two guys. To me, I think what made
I'm
better sense to
saying, you didn't hear
me
what I said.
is for
Obviously, you
AB
didn't
to
hear the
go
question.
there, go back.
You
Let me
ain't hear the
finish.
question.
Let me. I ain't cut you off though. So go to box rate while I talk. So
You
I
ain't hear
think
the question,
AB
bro.
going to 140.
You gotta answer the question in order to hear it.
AB going to 140. I already answered the question.
What
I
makes
already
more
said
sense, AB
no.
versus Keith
Go ahead, yo. You
or
go
AB
ahead.
versus the
I go
140? What makes more sense, AB versus Keith or AB going down
AB
to
at
140,
140.
bro? What makes more sense? Now you
He
trying to
said
say
AB
AB?
at
You trying
140.
to
I
say
just
AB
said at
doesn't fit
140.
147? Be a casual and say he doesn't fit 147. With AB definitely competition at 147. What are you talking about, bro? And he's already undefeated at 140. So why go backwards, bro?
Way AB fits at 147 if you want to get one of those top guys a money fight and be an
If AB
opponent.
stays at
That's the only way he
147, who
fit
AB fight
in
next?
against the
Give me a
top
name.
guys.
If AB stays at 147, give me a name. Who he fight next?
Red Cash.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, that is the closest fight they've been talking about. They haven't been
Come on, man.
talking about Keith Thurman, man.
Come on, man.
Red Catch is the only fight they've been talking
This
about.
easy work.
Man, I'm talking about a big fight, bruh.
Easy
AB
work.
versus Keith, 147, bruh. If AB stays at 147, it won't be no damn red cash, bruh.
I don't think no big names
That's what
that's
you
at
want
the
to say.
top of the list are gonna give him time of day, man.
Bruh.
Now I think the best bet is 140. I say the 140. Hey, let me talk though. Let me talk. I'll let you talk. I'll let you listen to that bullshit you were saying. So Excuse me, though.
And
Excuse my French. I
it's
listen
a
to you
good
talk,
fight.
so
Like
let
you
me go.
said, you agree
Yeah,
with me. It's a good
you
fight.
might learn something.
You agree with me
Let
though.
me go. It's a good fight, but it's not
Go
realistic
ahead.
right now.
You agree with
Yeah,
me though.
but the
It's a
fight
good
not
fight.
realistic.
All right,
Not
then.
realistic.
It is realistic.
I agree. I agree it's a good fight, but it's not realistic now. I think AB at 140 though is a good move because you can go down there. Look at the leg. You got the two champions. They on the collision course to fight for the unification. The winner of that or the loser, I think they're gonna move up. Those big guys, Josh
Correct.
Taylor and Jose Ramirez. So AB can put himself in position to get him a vacant or fight for one of those WBA titles. You know that PBC is rocking with the WBA crazy right now, and they're about to have Rances versus one of the Dominican guys fighting for off-brand WBA. So AB can get in line and get a vacant title at 140. At 147, I think although sell the fight, I don't know if he win those big fights. I don't think he win those big fights against those top guys. So I think 140 is better for him. I think he's probably a big puncher there. He always sharp. So that's just my opinion. You know
AB
what I'm saying?
haters talking
That's
points.
a
Go ahead.
boxing knowledge
AB haters
opinion.
talking points.
That ain't
Go
no
ahead.
fanboy opinion.
AB haters talking points. Go ahead. AB built for
Hey,
147.
Ain't nobody hating on AB. Okay.
let me ask you this, L-Dub,
What's
who
next?
you like to see? Who would you like to see him face first at 140? If indeed, you know, he does, like you said, Ramirez and Taylor, man, they fight, come undisputed, they vacate, move up to 47. Who would you like to see him fight? Like a Pro Grace, Postal? Who?
Not right now because AB been on the ring for almost 2 years. He need a good fight. Even shoot, I said Red Cash at 40. I said Red Cash at 40. You know what I'm saying? Red Cash is a smaller guy. That's a good comeback to the division fight, especially after 2 years off. So we're telling that's what I'm saying. I want to be realistic. This guy right here talking about Keith fighting AB come for 2 years later. Then we're gonna have to give him excuses and this and that. No, we don't. Let's not do that. Let's get AB at his best. Let him get
What you
a
talking
win
about,
under
buddy?
his belt. He
What
haven't
you
won.
talking about?
Let me finish. Let me finish. Then you can try to counter it. So AB haven't had a win for 3 years. So let him get in the winning block, get it 140, you know what I'm saying, feel good, maybe come in, catch weight, you know what I'm saying, whatever. And then he can fight a Regis after that. I want to say he's fighting no tough fight right now because it's been already 2
Okay.
years.
How about this?
And like you said,
Okay, how about this? How about this?
Hey, I gotta say that makes sense though.
Hold up though. AB versus Pacquiao rematch. Keith Thurman, Pacquiao rematch. So how can you not say AB versus Keith Thurman don't make sense? I'll wait.
AB versus Keith Thurman don't make it's not realistic right
It
now
makes sense,
because
bro.
AB's coach Kevin
It
Cunningham.
makes sense, bro.
Okay, go ahead. Coach Cunningham. Okay, it makes sense to you. I bet. Coach Cunningham just said the AB is moving back to 140. Somehow you think it makes
I'm
sense
saying
to
it's
him
not a good move too.
I
I'm
bet.
saying it's not a good move
Go ahead.
too. Not right now.
Keep going.
I'm saying AB
Why?
147.
Why it's not
You
a
still
good
got
move?
fights you still got opponents to face at 147. I think going down is a
You
bad
see?
move for AB.
Now you don't
You
answer
already
my question.
hold on, bro. You already
Why is
accomplished
it
what you
bad
did
move?
at 140. You know what I'm saying? He can get in the mix and get an uproar. Guess
What
what? Mikey
accomplished?
can do the same. Mikey could come back down and do the same.
What? Okay, I got a question for you. What did he accomplish at 140?
You don't know box if you don't know. So then stop talking to me, bro. We're talking about AB, bro.
No, I know. I'm asking. I know.
I
I'm
don't
asking
ask you
you. What did he
no
accomplish? Because
casual ass
I got you.
questions,
I can
bro.
school you.
Like I said,
I mean, his shining
What he
star was
accomplished?
picking
You
up
see
the belt
that?
from Khabib.
like I said, AB, my opinion,
Khabib, and then
don't move down. Don't move down. Stay at 147. You got
you see
redemptions
that?
fight there,
World
and you
Cup, you
got
see that?
potential Keith Thurman fight. And guess what? People want to bring up AB
That
versus.
when they get
Hold on,
bodied,
bro.
they don't answer the
Hold on, bro.
question.
Let me ask you a question, bro. Everybody suddenly want to bring up Danny Garcia
Nah,
versus AB. So is
you don't,
AB
you
versus
don't
Danny
got the right to
Garcia a
answer no
good fight?
questions.
Do that make sense? AB
You
versus
can't
Danny
ask me
Garcia
no questions, bro.
147?
You can't ask
Answer
me
my
no questions.
question. Answer my question. Does
Those
AB versus
are
Danny
your two
Hey,
Garcia
boys.
at 147 make
No,
sense? When that was
hey,
already on the crash
JFL,
course already?
answer your
let
own
him cook.
question.
Let him cook,
You
JFL.
gotta answer, bro.
JFL, you gotta let him cook, man. You gotta let.
No, I'm not.
Let
No,
me answer
no.
the question
I
again
asked
so
you
he
a
can hear
question.
me. Because you don't like to hear questions.
No,
I
no,
said AB
no.
is all of a
I'm not
sudden.
answering your question. You haven't answered my question
Shut
one
me up and
time.
listen to the
That's why I said
question,
I
bro.
want to debate you.
You're a poor
I'm
listener
listening
ass
to it.
nigga, bro. Just listen to what I'm saying. You saying it doesn't make sense, right? Now I said all of a sudden, don't you know AB versus Danny Garcia was on a class course years ago, right? Now this is what I'm saying. Does AB versus Danny Garcia make sense right now? Yes or no?
Nope. I just said
yes
no.
or no? So
No.
AB does. Okay. AB versus Keith Thurman makes sense. Long overdue fight. Great build up. 50-50 fight. It makes sense. It doesn't make sense for AB to go down at 140 right now, bro. That's just facts. But AB do what he want to do.
Why not? Answer the question.
Mikey could do the same.
Answer the question.
Mikey could do the same and go down.
Answer the question. Why not?
Mikey could go do the same
why
and go
not,
down.
Why you can't go to 140? You see how you don't answer the question? We want to answer his dumb ass question.
Move right now for that, bro.
Why it's not a good move?
Advisor,
let me ask you this. Hold up. JFL, hold up. Answer this question about 140. I just want to hear what you guys say. Like, what's your take on that?
What we saying about 140 with AB? Like, what we saying? I'm saying he shouldn't go down there.
Well, let me ask it again so you can clear it. Let me ask it again. Why can't AB go to 140? Why is that a bad move? Why don't make sense? Why don't make sense?
I said it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense when he has redemption fights at 147 and he has a possible Keith fight and a possible Danny Garcia fight. What are you talking about? And those big money fights.
How's that possible? What's his ranking in the WBC at 147? What's his ranking?
Yo, this casual.
Just tell me the ranking. Help me out.
Casual. I'm talking to you, bro.
It just came out. No, I'm okay. Go on mute.
You said AB versus Danny Garcia doesn't make sense. You say no. You're a casual.
No, it don't. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. It don't make sense with AB coming. AB haven't had a win in 3 years. All right, let me go.
Hold on, bro. You know how You know how AB and Danny Garcia makes perfect sense.
Easy work.
You know about that?
They don't let you talk, so you know it's easy work.
You know about that?
It's easy work because they don't want to let you talk. Nope, because you don't want to let me talk. It's easy work. You know what it is. You know what it is. World Combat. He knows it is. Listen, let me go for a second. Let me go for a second.
Answer questions right.
Let me go. Let me go. Without you interrupting. I'll let you rock all day. All right, look.
Go ahead.
Look, JFL. Just let him get out his point, man. Go ahead, Elder.
AB is not good. AB is not. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you good.
Can you hear me?
Talk to AB hater talk. Go ahead.
All right, bet.
Let him get it out.
To me, AB is not a good opponent. AB is not a good opponent for nobody. None of the top guys in 147 right now because AB had a win in 3 years. He's coming off a 2-year layoff. You know what I'm saying? If you're a fan of AB, why would you want to put him right in at the top when he haven't been doing nothing for the years? So that's why he's not a realistic opponent.
You done? Let me know when you're done.
You see that?
Let me know when you're done.
You see that?
Yeah, let him finish there, bro. He was making a solid point. He's making a solid point. Let him cook, man. And then you can chime in, Jeff.
Man, that point was on. Listen, World Combat. That's what they do when they know they're about to get bodied. That guy, AB is a good fighter. I rock with AB.
You ain't body nobody because you don't got no logic to think this through. You have no logic to think this through. Now go ahead.
Trash with this.
Casual. Don't be saying body.
You trash with this.
You ain't body nobody. Casual.
I bodied you every time.
You ain't body.
Every time you talk to me about boxing, you get bodied.
Keep reading. Answer. You finished.
Go ahead. You can have it.
All right. I know I got it. All right.
Nope.
Now, like I said, AB versus Danny Garcia was in class.
Watch I won't let you talk,
bro. Are you?
I won't let you talk. Watch I won't let you talk.
You won't let me talk. Nigga, I talk when I want to talk. Nigga, I cut you off. Nigga, be quiet.
Go ahead.
I'm talking about fights that make sense, bro. AB versus Danny Garcia was on the class course. So why people bringing that up recently?
That was
right?
Already
got lost. Already got lost. And he got lost. So you want to say, oh, AB versus Danny Garcia makes sense now? Okay, AB versus Keith Thurman got lost. Hold on, bro.
Dan fighting Spence.
Who put a better fight up between? Who put a better fight up between Keith Thurman, Pacquiao, and AB and Pacquiao, bro? They want their rematches, right? So obviously, how they gonna get their rematch? At what weight? At what weight would they get their rematch? At what weight? At what weight?
And they want his rematch with Thurman too after getting hurt.
I'm just saying, if it was a rematch,
at what weight? His rematch too.
Exactly.
won his
But what I'm
rematch
saying
too.
is, my whole point is, AB versus Keith Thurman
After Thurman all boxed
makes
him.
more sense
After
than
Thurman all
AB
boxed him
going
easy.
down to 140, bro. That's all I'm saying. And it's a
After
good
Thurman
fight.
all boxed him
As
easy.
you agree, it's a good fight. It's a 50-50 fight. Who you got?
I got Dan Garcia getting stopped.
Come on, man. Stay on topic, bro.
Now you stay on topic. You've been off topic. I've been by you on
I've
this.
been on
If you
topic.
don't let the man talk, then
I've
you
been on
already
topic.
automatically lose. Automatically.
I've been
You
on topic.
trash with this.
Catch up. I've been on topic.
You answer none of my questions. Answer my question then. Let me ask
So
my
it
question.
makes sense.
What
Hold on,
did
bro.
AB do?
Hold on, bro.
See, you see that? You see
Hold on, bro.
that? You see
I
that?
said
Go
AB
ahead. You
versus
got it.
Keith
You got
Thurman.
it. You got it.
AB versus Keith Thurman. 147. Makes sense. Big fight. 50-50 fight. Long overdue fight. Was throwing everything off is AB going down to 140. Now you can say, okay, AB going down to 140, cool. You try to downplay AB at 147. You're casual, and guess what? His fights been close fights. It wasn't no large margin, and guess what? AB factually 7-5 Pacquiao, nigga.
You got hey, let him cook, JFL, when he come back
He don't
on.
got
You
no
got
smoke to
anything else
give
to
you,
say,
bro.
Lawrence?
He don't got no smoke. Casual.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm here. You want
All
me to
right, y'all.
respond to that? I mean,
Hey, go ahead and
You
respond.
got no
yeah,
response, bro.
man, I want to see AB at 140. I think he'll do better at 140. Get him a win under his belt, and then probably fight for one of those vacant belts when Josh and Jose Ramirez move up. That's all I got to say on that, yo. I already killed him.
You ain't body nobody, so stop reaching, bro. Good try though. Good try.
It's easy.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all for stopping through,
You
man, with the
trash.
smoke, man, the inferno. You know, hey, boxing get like this sometimes, fellas, but you know, hey, both of y'all made some solid points, really. You know, both of y'all made some solid points. Me, I look at it's nobody at 47 going to give AB a big fight. It's just not going to happen because he has been out for 3 years. And I mean, he hasn't had a win in 3 years. And you know, his last big fight was Pacquiao. What? That's been over a year. That was early 19.
That's still recent. Like Keith Thurman's still recent. And guess what?
Yeah.
Keith Thurman been out for 2-some years too, and came back and got a tune up, and he barely got past that. But I'm saying this, he lost to
But Keith
Pacquiao.
Thurman ain't a tune
So
up.
why can't AB have a tune up?
AB not no tune up.
Keith Thurman ain't a tune up for AB. That's a fight.
That's what I'm saying. Why can't
All I'm saying
That's
is,
what I'm saying. Why can't AB come back and get a tune up? Why can't get a tune up?
Let AB can get a tune up too, but I'm saying that 147 or whatever. But what I'm saying is, you know what I mean? He could fight. I ain't gonna mention another name, but all I'm saying is, let's stop dismissing an AB and Keith Thurman fight. That makes sense, bro. We're throwing it off is him trying to go back down to 140.
It's not realistic next.
When it is realistic, buddy.
It's not realistic
I
next.
factual facts about how it is
not
realistic,
next.
buddy.
So let me ask you this,
No, it's
JFL.
not.
If he gets a tune up, look, if he gets a tune up at 47, who's a good tune up for AB?
Bro, we're going straight to the smoke, bro.
He can
We're
make
going straight to the smoke, bro. Keith Thurman, bro.
No,
Keith
Thurman ain't a freaking tune up, man. That's a fight.
AB not a tune up either. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's a good fight.
Yeah, man. AB
he got his tune up. Keith Thurman got his tune up years ago, bro, before the Pacquiao fight. So that's irrelevant right now. We're talking about the last recent fights. Pacquiao, AB versus Keith Thurman, bro. Period. It's free smoke, man.
The only advantage that Adrian Broner has, he didn't touch the canvas against freaking Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
I hear you guys, but I'm saying AB and Keith Thurman is being overlooked. And I don't know. It makes sense. So okay, so them going back and forth is pointless then. I don't hear no back and forth going forward about AB versus Keith on Instagram or DM each other, cussing each other out. Like for example, Russell and Bud Crawford going back and forth, which is pointless. All right, so then they should stop talking. They should stop talking then.
Who's been going back and forth right now? You talking about Keith Thurman and AB been going back and forth? I haven't heard too much of that.
You can pull it up. Keith
I
Thurman
haven't
just
seen
said
that.
something.
Where
Keith
is
Thurman
that?
just said something out of his mouth,
Drop the
talking about
link.
and brought some kids
Drop the
into
link.
it. Bro, pull it up, man. If you was on
Drop
your
the link in the
boxing, you
chat.
would know this.
But
Come
Keith
on,
Thurman,
man.
he just been
Okay.
talking about sending
That's
the
not
contract.
boxing. That's
He
drama.
talking about sending the how you gonna bypass AB and try to get Bud Crawford?
They
When the whole
sent the contract. His people called Crawford's people.
Man,
That's
all I'm
fact.
saying is send a contract to AB. AB send a contract to Keith Thurman. Make that epic fight happen. Or it's gonna be a fantasy fight that we're never gonna get. That people care less about. I'm a boxing fan first and say that fight shouldn't be overlooked. Keith Thurman been ducking AB before Spence. Make that fight happen. It's free smoke. And they both been on time off. And they both got to come back and something to prove. And they both lost to Pacquiao. Come on. It's a big money fight.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with them being two top tier names in the sport. But
AB still a pay-per-view type of
hey,
ball.
JFL, when it comes down to AB though, it's different between Thurman losing his title and AB not having a win in 3, man. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't had a win, man. He
So who AB? Okay, so tune up for AB, and then the Keith Thurman fight. That's what we're saying. That's how it's going to work.
If he make it past the tune up.
Yeah,
That's
realistic right there.
Whoever that tune up is, that's just in the way. And it's still, even if he does that tune up, people still gonna be like, realistic. "Oh, I'm not interested in Keith and AB." Like they saying now.
No, if he gets past his tune up and they make it interesting, they start putting it in the language.
It's already interesting now. The buildup is there.
It's interesting in you, though. It's interesting in you. It's not interesting to the boxing masses. You know what I'm saying? The whole land.
That's crazy though. How's not interested in the boxing masses when AB and Keith Thurman has back and forth history, and also Keith Thurman was ducking AB years ago when Mayweather was still here. We're still in the mix.
Because AB don't have the juice like that.
Nobody talking about
don't have the juice either. So Keith, retire. AB, retire. Don't just retire. Keith and AB, just fall back. Just retire.
But see, AB can retire if he has enough money to make it.
Retire, man.
Look, AB is a 4-division champion either way you look at it. But he hasn't had a win in quite some time. So that's a problem because boxing is a business, man. It's a business. Period.
I'm going to say something about that, though. I think that's
they can get back in the mix, man. It's free smoke, man. We talking about a 147 free smoke division, bro.
Who would be a good opponent for him at 47?
Let me say something about that, though.
AB versus Keith, period. No in-between fights, nothing. Straight to the smoke. AB versus Keith.
He'll take that L, man.
They both been laid off. They both been out for a while. Get back to work. Get in that gym. Train. Build this fight up. AB versus Keith Thurman, man. No in-between fights, bruh. Straight to the smoke.
Go ahead. What you were saying, Lawrence?
I was gonna say I like the fight, but I think right now is a good time. I don't think it's realistic next. I think it can be realistic if both of them guys coming off a win and you can build that up. And I think the promotion will be crazy. Ain't nobody's missing AB. But listen what I'm saying. See, that's what I'm saying. Let me talk, and then you'll understand where I'm coming from.
They're both coming off a loss.
But let me tell you. Let me listen.
Yeah,
listen. They can.
Man.
One is coming off loss.
That's what I'm saying. Like, let me talk.
They both come off loss to Pacquiao.
Yeah, let me talk, bro. And then let me talk. I'm not trying to diminish your guy. I know that's your boy. But listen, I think if they had both of these guys had a win, and then they can build that fight up. Even if they fight like apart from each other, you can build that up. Like right now, we gotta get AB back in the ring. Like not too long ago, you talking about retirement.
If you want to talk about losses, you want to talk about losses.
Retirement.
Hold on, bro. If you want to talk about losses,
that's what I'm saying. They ain't like talking about losses.
Hold on. If you want to talk about losses, Keith Thurman Keith Thurman lost to Danny Garcia. He barely escaped Lopez. People said that Lopez probably won that fight. So Keith Thurman lost to Danny Garcia, Lopez, and Pacquiao. What?
So you want to talk about bro? You don't gotta get.
You talk about losses. You want to talk about losses?
Listen, though, we're not talking about losses. We just talk. Listen, man, we're just talking about building up the fight.
AB, so go ahead, losses. Come on, man.
Let him get off, Jeff.
Talking about building up the fight. That's what I'm saying. But we ain't talking about that. We're just talking about building up the fight. I already said that's a good fight. If them guys made it. Makes sense. And it's not just me talking like that.
All right,
is saying that.
all right,
He ain't said nothing about Keith. He been talking about Red Cash. He been talking about he coming to 140. So listen to the fighter. I'm not gonna listen to a fan of a fighter. So let's just do it like this. If those guys both fight, look good, they fight close to each other. Yeah, I'm down with it. I'm down with it now, but I'm saying I don't think it's realistic now because I know Keith.
If World Combat Sports put up like a voting poll,
let me
appreciate that voting poll, and we could put AB versus
vote.
voting poll.
You,
and then we could put
you
Keith
and
Thurman
yourself.
versus voting poll, and we can do a Bud Crawford and who else? Bud Crawford and Gary Russell voting poll. Let's take a vote on all through those fights and see who's bigger and who's a bigger pay-per-view fight. If people look at it in a boxing lens, bro, a boxing fan first and history type of lens, and stop making certain fights that should happen into fantasy fights when it should be happening right now. Bringing back boxing. AB Keith Thurman will be hyped.
Keith Thurman has a date, December 6th. Remember that. Remember I told y'all first. Remember I told y'all first.
Keith Thurman. Come on, man. I saw you put that in the chat. December 6th.
Keith Thurman has a date. Yeah, December 26th, the day after Christmas, Boxing Day. That's a big day there. He's trying to either fight Jamal James, but we don't know the other opponent.
Who?
He already have a date. So is AB gonna be ready for that date?
Who are you talking about, bro?
That's why I know. Listen, hey, put your.
What are you talking about, bro?
Listen, yo. All right.
You saying dates like I said? AB gotta build up, bro. They gotta go back to training. Why are you saying dates right now, bro?
Okay. No, do this, yo. Listen to me for a second before you cut me off. Let me get my shit off. All right. Keith Thurman has a date penciled in for December 26th.
So Keith Thurman in the
fight opponent is Jamal James. So this fight, hold on. Listen what I'm saying. Damn, if you listen to what I'm saying, then you probably can understand this shit. So Jamal James just fought a couple weeks ago for the WBA interim title. Keith Thurman got a date penciled in. That's a likely opponent. Ain't nobody about AB. They said something about Jamal James. So I'm letting you know right now, that's his date right there. So that's what I'm asking you. This is what I'm asking you. Now is
it confirmed?
It's not confirmed yet, but is
it confirmed? So why are you mentioning dates to me? Why are you mentioning dates to me if it's not confirmed?
Because I'm giving you facts.
You ain't giving no facts. You giving
facts. I dropped gems.
You ain't giving no facts.
I dropped gems.
It's not confirmed. So why are you saying?
Did they come out?
So why keep mentioning
They
Bud?
Come out. Then you don't have to say nothing.
What day does Keith Thurman and Bud right now? When that's going down?
That interview with Brian Custer happened like a month ago.
When that date going down? Keith and Bud. When is that date?
It happened a month ago.
So
let me ask you this, J-Dub.
And
hey, J-Dub, let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this.
He trash.
Ask you this.
You trash.
If he does have a date, if he does have a date, he is trying to. It's in the media already. You know, Arum did get the contact from Keith Thurman's team. So if you mention a name that's totally opposite from what's going on in the media right now, so I can hear what JFL's coming at. Is it confirmed? I know you said no, but why is he reaching out to Team Crawford for a freaking fight if by chance it may be Jamal James? If he's like, you know, using his options or what's going on here? You know, that's going to be the fight date for him confirmed or what? Because he's basically
I think that's the fight date for him confirmed.
Huh?
Yeah, he reaching out. Yeah, no doubt. No, that's what's up. I'm glad that he's reaching out because I think that's a good fight too for Bud.
Why Keith ain't reaching out to AB? Why Keith Thurman is not reaching out to AB?
I know that.
Keith Thurman should be reaching out to AB.
You gotta ask AB that.
Yeah, that's like questions like that. That's hard. That's not even answered. That's not something we can answer, JFL. We can't answer why he ain't reaching out to somebody.
Keith Thurman should reach out to AB.
But no, we'll come back. So to your point, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he's just fishing around trying to see, you know what I'm saying, the availability of it. You know what I'm saying? If he got to take something in for Fox, you know, those guys, the PBC guys, you know, they already got their dates already. So, you know, it's going to take a lot of money to put them off their dates, especially on Fox. But that's what I'm saying. I don't know, but it's realistic because Jamal James, he just won the WBA interim title. Keith is ranked like number 8 or 9 in the WBA. Yeah, you were just talking about that the other day that Keith is ranked like 9 or something. He should be higher or something like that. Something you was talking about.
Yeah.
Realistic, then that's what I'm saying. When I talk about the boxing, I'm talking about more realistic. I ain't talking about like what I want, what I think, what I would like to happen. I'm talking about realistic stuff. That's why I'm different from most of these guys on here. That's why.
It's realistic, but you're casual, you don't see.
I said, I don't know. Ain't nobody casual. Ain't nobody about me.
Keith Thurman could definitely reach out to AB. You can't say he cannot, because he can't.
Yeah, he can. I say he could not. Well, what did Coach Kevin say?
And it's a big fight. It's a bigger fight than Bud Crawford fight. Keith and AB is a bigger fight than any name Keith Thurman's gonna fight next. AB name ring bells.
Coach Kevin said that. Coach Kevin didn't say that.
Put any fighter up against AB versus Keith. What's the bigger fight? I'll let you think on that. All right. World Combat Sports.
What did Coach Kevin say?
Kevin said? Appreciate you having me on, bro. Salute to you, man. And hopefully we can continue this. And hopefully we can build up this AB versus Keith fight, so it won't be a fantasy fight. You know what I'm saying? Keith Thurman mentioning Bud Crawford. He's still not mentioning AB, but got all his mouth to say too, saying names.
Yo, you said Smith was fighting Maurice Lee.
You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you having me on, bro.
Gonna fight Maurice
AB
Lee.
versus Keith is my primary
Last
fight.
time
and L Dub,
World Combat. Last time I bodied him.
You ain't body nobody.
Last time I bodied him.
You ain't body nobody last time nothing, bro. Stop with the false narratives, bro. And I'm gone.
Hey, I appreciate y'all coming on here, talking about boxing though. Real talk. I appreciate both of y'all coming here talking about boxing. I know y'all not gonna, just surrender. That's how it is. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know y'all shit. And I know both of y'all made some good points. I understand, when JFL get going, sometimes he does keep going. You know what I'm saying? I know that for a fact. But hey, I appreciate having both of y'all on, man. It makes sense. I'm glad that you mentioned that he has a date. Now I'm curious to know, how serious this call is to Bob Arum about making this Crawford fight, if in fact he may have Jamal James lined up, because James did come off beating Delorme, and it was a good fight. I ain't gonna lie, like that was the first time I really tuned in to James. So if he's talking about fighting Jamal James, I think that would be a good fight, but I don't think a lot of people would know it. Of course, if he was to step in there with Crawford, it would be a bigger name. But I just hope Terrence Crawford fight. Yeah, go ahead.
That's a good look for him to chop that fight about Bud Crawford. I think so. I'm saying, but I just, this whole AB Keith thing, I'm saying, it's a fun fight though, and the promotion would be crazy. But I just don't think it's realistic. That's all I was saying. Ain't nobody trying to put down AB. That's not how I roll. I don't never have no fighters. I just speak my facts.
I just look at AB as a whole, man. Like Keith Thurman is trying to make the biggest money fight. He just lost his title in July last year. So of course he want to come back and try to use that momentum, the last little bit of momentum and prestige he has as a unified champion, to try to get a big fight. I don't blame him, man. I don't blame him for coming back trying to make that fight. I don't blame him at all, man.
Hey, World Comeback. I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna hop right back on, man. If you don't mind, I gotta fix things.
All right, go ahead, man. Handle your business. Appreciate you stopping. Hey, appreciate you stopping through, bro.
No problem.
What's good, everybody? Hey, appreciate L Dub dropping through. JFL, man. You know how I get sometime. It get gassed up in the room, man. Topics on boxing will always bring the heat. Always. Everybody ain't gonna always agree. It's always gonna be opinions that lead to a debate. You know that for a fact. H Money probably sitting back there like, man, shit. I know what that's about. But that's the way it is, though. That wasn't even absolutely the worst you can get, to be honest. Like it's been worse debates than that. But shout out to the fellas for bringing the heat, bringing the gas, the blow torches, you know what I'm saying, and getting their points out. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about when it comes to boxing. I don't know why the hell, I got to ask this question, man. Why in the hell my square coming up without my logo? I don't know how the fuck. I haven't taken enough time to figure that out yet, but I'm gonna have to figure this shit out as to why my logo went away. I don't know. I dropped the link there, H. I dropped the link up top. It passed you. But yeah, it gets like that sometime in the boxing debates. I look at it, when it comes to weight, I think if anybody want to invest their time in AB, it'll have to be at a higher weight. But when you talk about where the 140 division's at, it's all about the mentality of AB, willing to make that sacrifice to go down to 140. Because like I said, dude was seriously out of shape. And when his trainer, Kevin Cunningham, was on Barbershop Conversations the other night, he didn't really make any mention of AB even attempting to even go the route of Thurman. It wasn't even close. Like it's nowhere on the radar. It was nowhere in the proximity, nowhere in the language. So definitely, I don't see Keith Thurman fighting AB anytime soon at all. And if he did, I think it'll be a problem if once again Adrian Broner is not willing to be more active. You know what I'm saying? He needs to be more active. Period.
What's up, bro? What up? What's up, L Dub, man? I just got off the phone with Bill, man. We was game planning. We got a special guest coming through, a member of a team, Devin Haney, tonight, and right. I told him, L Dub, about Lee Selby, man. You know what I'm saying? He sent the word out there to Devin. You know what I mean? So I've been looking at Lee Selby for about 2 weeks right now. You know what I'm saying? Lee Selby, he just came off a win against Ricky Burns, a former world champion, like L Dub told me. You know what I mean? Man, you never know what might
happen. Against Warrington, didn't he?
Yeah, it was a split decision. I think it was pretty close, though.
It was a tight fight, though. It was a nice fight, though.
So World Cup back. Oh, my bad, H Money. Go ahead, bro.
Oh, you good? Go ahead, L Dub.
I was gonna tell World Comeback the backstory. So I was talking to my man H Money behind the scenes, and I was telling him Cambosos and Lee Selby, their fight fell out. You know what I'm saying, for the IBF mandatory. So I was talking to him. Yeah, I was talking to him about possible opponents for Haney, since you know what I'm saying it is kind of difficult to find him some opponents. So I was just putting a word in his ear to see what's up with that. That's all. That's the backstory.
Man, you got some jewels like that? Hit me up on IG, man, because I'm all about the jewels shit.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Go ahead, H Money.
Oh, yeah. L Dub know his shit. You know what I'm saying? So me and him, we was up early, you know what I'm saying, talking boxing. We chopping it up and shit. He's always giving me gems and shit. But the thing is, I was looking at Lee Selby already, but I didn't know, you know what I'm saying, he had a fight. And I didn't even know that his fight got canceled. So I'm talking to Bill Haney about it right now. And Bill, he knew the fight was canceled and all of that. So I mentioned Lee Selby because we want champions or former world champions. So that's what we looking at. You know what I'm saying? Because people be hating on Devin Haney and they'll say all type of shit about him. You know what I'm saying? So to shut these guys up, we want a former world champion pretty much. So Selby, he fits that. He fits the description, a former world champion, something like that. So Bill just said, you know what I'm saying, for sure, we talking about Selby, we game planning. He like, man, I just sent it over to Devin. So he said Devin might put out a tweet and ask the people what they think about Lee Selby as a possible opponent. So L Dub, man, you know what I'm saying, you might have started some shit, man.
See, that's what I'm talking about, the link up, man. I'm talking about, like, this is informative type boxing talk, you know, that I lean into. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like stuff like this, game planning and all that. And then with legitimate opponents that make sense. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't have known that. I didn't know his opponent fell out. You know what I'm saying? So it may be indeed a potential opponent. Once it catch fire on social media, they might take it in consideration, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Lee Selby is promoted by Eddie Hearn. He just signed with him. And
oh shit, that makes it even better then.
And then check this out. Eddie been trying to get Devin Haney to fight in the UK. So that's a perfect fighter right there. Selby's from Wales, depending on the travel and all that good stuff, and they can get some fans over there. But anything's possible, man. I just want to throw that out there because I know H Money was talking about these guys. They don't want to fight Devin Haney like that, so I'm just throwing out opponents, man. Possible opponents.
Yeah, Selby fits the description, but like you said, that's in the UK and shit like that, and we, dealing with this COVID situation. You know what I mean? Selby is big out there, no fans. It's going, you know what I mean? I don't know how that shit gonna play out or what, but I put it in Bill's ear, so Bill, he's taking it into consideration. We was just breaking that whole shit down for about a good 30 minutes. That's why I had got off the show because I was talking to Bill. But yeah, man, LW doing your shit. I was looking at him already, but you know what? I didn't mention it to Bill. I mentioned Terry Flanagan and shit like that to Bill. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't mention Selby. So today I mentioned it to him. You know what I mean? And we got to wait and see what happens. To be honest, Selby or Gamboa, I think Gamboa, to me personally, is a better opponent because Gamboa been in there with Tank in his last fight, and we trying to fight Tank. Gamboa, a two-time champion, Olympic gold medalist, who beat Jason Velez. Jason Velez, who knocked out Javier Fortuna. Gamboa beat Salido, who beat Lomachenko, and Gamboa been in there with Terrence Crawford, who actually was beating Terrence Crawford in the early rounds. He was beating him to the punch. Gamboa hurt Crawford. He almost knocked him out. That was a fight of the year. So, Gamboa is going to bring some excitement. I think Haney versus Gamboa is going to be an exciting fight. You know what I mean? So, we're going to take Lee Selby into consideration.
But also, Gamboa was undefeated when he fought Crawford too, man.
Yep, he was, and he came off the layoff.
Y'all got to start to give Gamboa credit. Like, he was an undefeated fighter, a tough fighter. So Crawford getting hurt doesn't diminish his reputation as a fighter. Gamboa was legit. He was a dog. Like, he was a Cuban fighter. He was a legit fighter. But I just think too many people try to diminish and devalue Crawford's resume when it comes to Gamboa, when Gamboa was undefeated. Dude was an Olympian. You got to give him credit. If he hurt Crawford, he hurt Crawford. Dude was a legitimate Olympian, man, and a champion, a professional, world champion.
He was a gold medalist. He was one of the most exciting fighters in boxing, some of the fastest hands ever. So Gamboa, bro, was a big name. Bro, Gamboa, that's what put Terrence Crawford on the map. That Gamboa win. That's how everybody, start messing with Crawford because he beat Gamboa.
Yeah. He's a 3-division champion, man. No matter how you want to work it with him unifying at 140, he's still unified. So, but let's not get off the subject. How do you see either name? How close do you feel that the opponent that you're looking for would be close to signing either Gamboa or Selby? I think really in the U.S., I think people want to see Gamboa, to be honest, because he's linked up with Javante now.
And Crawford. And Crawford, you know what I'm saying?
No, he's linked up recently in December last year. He linked up to Javante.
That was his last fight, correct. The only man to go 12 rounds with Tank, you know what I'm saying? And he was injured. So everybody's saying Gamboa was washed up. That's not true. If Gamboa was washed up, he would have never went 12 rounds with Tank, and he had an injury. Even Pedraza only lasted 6 rounds with Tank, and he had no injury. So Gamboa, bro, is not washed up, bro. If he was washed up, he wouldn't have lasted that long with Tank. You know what I mean? I think Gamboa is an exciting fighter. That fight between Gamboa and Devin Haney gonna be exciting, man. I'm telling you.
Let me speak on that. I think Gamboa is washed, but I'm not mad at the choice of opponent if Haney fight him because, Haney coming off an injury too. Now, not to say that he's not 100%. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? I think that's a good fight when these other guys in his division are busy. You look at the top half of 135, everybody either fighting each other or they doing something else. So Gamboa is the biggest name left for him to fight. So I ain't mad at the fight. Richard Comey did it last year. He broke his knuckle when he won the IBF title on the Kovalev Alvarez card, and then he fought Ray Beltran, who Beltran and Gamboa is in similar stages of their career.
So I'm cool with the fight. I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying? I had to take a step back and analyze everything. So it's
Yeah,
not bad.
that's a solid point, man. I was there at that fight with Richard Comey. He didn't show no sign of being injured. You know what I'm saying? He went in and did what he had to do. But when it came to Ray Beltran was like the best opponent you can have to stand in front of you and punch on like that. You know what I'm saying? That was the best opponent he can have.
Yep.
He was a punching bag, older fighter, a punching bag. Hey, he did what he had to do.
Hey, World Comeback. I was at that fight too, man. I was hurt when Nano got stopped on the undercard, man. I was hurt. When Nano Rodriguez got stopped, I was hurt.
Yeah, that was a pretty decent card too, man. I mean, I like top rank events, man.
Yeah, Carlos Adames and Patrick Day, RIP to him.
Yeah,
that was a good fight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pat Day.
Rest in peace, Patrick Day.
But how, looking at it for Team Haney, man, how do you see it? Which one of those lanes you feel is going to be something that leads you to signing that contract, Haney or Selby?
I'm not sure, to be honest, because Selby his name just got involved right now. I just presented it to Bill Haney, so we gotta wait and see what happens with that. I'm not sure, to be honest, man. You know what I mean? But I'm not sure, bro. But that, me personally, I'll take Gamboa, but we're gonna look at all our options. I'd rather have the Gamboa fight because Gamboa is a bigger name. Gamboa been in there with Tank, like you said, in his last fight. He been in there with Crawford, Salido, Jason Velez, Ponce de Leon. You know what I mean? Two-time champion, Olympic gold medalist. Gamboa got a name in America. People know Gamboa for real. People really don't know Selby in America like that. In the UK, they know him. Like he's big in the UK, but not in America.
Yeah,
Gamboa would be much larger if he just spoke English. He knows English, but the whole fight week down here in the 8-man, he wasn't saying anything. He was focused. He was zoned in. Sometimes he looked like he was zoned out. But when Tank was talking trash to him, he acted like he didn't understand English. You're just not going to sell. You know what I'm saying? He can be a bigger star than what he is if he just talk. You trying to tell me Gamboa don't know English? Yeah, he know English, but he just goes through his interpreters all the time, and he's not going to be a huge star, man.
Yeah. Gamboa, he's a warrior, though. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like I said, I ain't mad at the fight, man. I just wish both guys success, though. You know, so I think Devin Haney gonna beat them easy, though. Gonna be 100.
Dang. I see. Lee Selby had beat Omar Douglas. Who hurt Javier Fortuna, man. You know what I mean? Omar Douglas landed a big shot against Javier Fortuna, almost finished him. What I'm gonna do? I'm about to go watch Josh Warrington versus Lee Selby. Go check out that fight.
That was a nice fight, man. That was a nice ass fight.
Dang, they got a lot of. I'm gonna study Lee Selby so I can get a better assessment of him. I watched him fight against Ricky Burns, so I'm gonna keep watching him. I really don't remember that fight. Yeah, I think it was close. I thought, man, I actually called that fight. I did a live fight stream on there, so I can go back and see how I called it and see what I really thought of him. Watch some fights, you know what I mean? Watch him fight some more to get, you know what I mean, to get a better judgment on him. You know what I mean? So I got to do my homework.
Selby can box, man. He's tall. He don't got a lot of punching power, but he can box a little bit. They used to call him, look, peep this. They used to call him the Wales Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? But he ain't nowhere close to that. But he can box, though.
They was probably at the local pub doing that shit, too. They was intoxicated.
I know, right? But yeah.
He's tall, but Devin taller than him. Devin is taller than him. You know, Devin about 5'9", 5'10", Lee Selby 5'8" and a half. He ain't
what the reach is, though, because you could be taller than somebody and have a shorter reach.
Yeah, 60. I think his reach was 69. I just was looking at it with Bill Haney. He was just sizing him up and shit.
He tough. I mean, hey, he tough, man. You know, he went to a split decision. You know, so hey, we'll have to see how that works out. He only has 2 losses though, so hey.
Yeah,
we're gonna check him out, man. You know what I mean? Watch some film on this guy, and I'm gonna get back. World Combat, man. Make sure you come through for the podcast. We're gonna do episode number 2. L Dub, man, come through, man. Join the panel, man. Drop them gems on us. And we're gonna have a special guest. Matter of fact, I forgot the dude's name, but he knows your boy McWaters though. He know McWaters World
Okay.
Combat.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. A lot of people know McWaters. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. Yeah, Bill was just telling me like, you know what I'm saying, dude, he you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure what his job was and shit like that. But yeah, man, we're gonna have a special guest. Come through L Dub World Combat for sure, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, salute, man. Thanks for dropping in, H Money. Yeah, I'll be through that, man. You know what it is.
I'm gonna be in the chat. Matter of fact, I'm gonna watch some Lee Selby footage, and I'm gonna be in the chat listening to y'all.
All right, salute, bro.
Peace.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Elder, man, if you have some jewels like that, man, yeah, just dropping my IG World Combat Sports, man. Definitely, I do research, look it up, man. You know, just give me a talking point out here in the
Okay.
media world. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, no doubt, man. I like doing that because there's more to it than just the boxing part. It's like the politics and the
Yeah.
rankings and all that stuff. So I like to dig deep into that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, no doubt, man. I'm gonna hit you up I'm gonna find you. What's your name? This World Comeback Sports on Instagram?
Yeah, just World Combat Sports. Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna hit you up.
I appreciate
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Well, hey, thanks for dropping through, man. I'm gonna close it down, man, and so I can get ready to go over there. But definitely, man, whenever you in the area, you stop through on the live chat to talk about any talking point, man. You welcome, on the panel. It's all good, man. Appreciate having you through, bro.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I appreciate you having me on, man, and salute to you, brother.
All right, salute, man. Take it easy. And for those of you that stopped in on the live chat, appreciate y'all for stopping through. You know what it is. It was turned up. It was hot. It was gassed. Everything above. It was Africa hot up in this mother. You know what I'm saying? It gets like that when it's boxing. You know what I'm saying? It gets like that. You don't have to touch gloves. You just come in scrapping. That's the way it is when it gets to these talking points. Because everybody gonna have their own side. And some people just ain't gonna budge. That's just the thing about it. But hey, I enjoyed it. And like I said before, y'all be sure to stop through. I'm definitely gonna have a live before then, but 11:30 a.m. Thursday, y'all stop through here. I'm gonna have Gary Russell Jr. on here, and definitely I look forward to the boxing interview with him. Much respect to the entire Gary Russell clan over there, from his pops all the way down to his younger brother, Antonio, Antoine. I think he has like I think it's 6 of them, and he's the oldest, but they're the only ones who box. So, they're on a mission to become the next 3 brothers to hold world championships, I think at the same time or something like that. But I look forward to interviewing them always. And then I have another one lined up. I'll just wait till I lock that in before I even let that out. But yeah, appreciate y'all pulling up. World Combat Sports. Turn up and tune in always. Salute, man.